That's what we launched on. Clear soft coding outside of the seed.
That's great. Hi.
Excellent.
That's what we're talking about. Welcome, everyone. I don't know. What do we have? Sarah usually tells me my announcements, and she's not here tonight. So I'm lost in a drift in a sea of unknowingness.
Chat is also unmoderated, so be excellent to each other.
Yeah, be good to each other.
Yes.
Be good to each other. We don't have many people here yet, so that's okay.
I don't think I don't think we have much. One is just Rainy's streams dropping.
Correct. Rainy's stream will be out next Tuesday. Is that going to be another one of his series of the Ironsworn?
So he's been continuing Ironsworn, yep.
Cool. So that's not one of his other
that next
things,
I think the next one was one of his modified media ones.
Oh, really?
Or
Nice.
perspective checks.
The mining media perspective. Cool.
Yeah, I think it was one of those.
Besides that, we met a very cool, very interesting person at Captain Con last weekend, and we're going to do a modified roles episode with her about some really interesting stuff, but that's all I'm saying right now. Other than that, also, I want to say that Vaesen is a Free League game. Free League is freaking awesome. They just dropped the Dragonbane Bestiary, if you haven't checked it out, and somehow we got put on like the review list. So we have hordes of Free League RPGs now.
They are generous and supportive and wonderful, and we love them.
They are wonderful people, and we love them. Everything they say about people in that part of the world is true. They're awesome. That's why those countries are all the happiest and the smartest and the best.
They are. They're the happiest. Certainly the happiest.
Yeah, but do they work 100-hour work weeks all the time without reprieve?
No,
I didn't fucking think so.
They're not as cool as we are. Dies of heart attack.
I mean, that's why they're happy.
Strokes out at 30.
We're way cooler.
Yeah, I worked 100 hours this week. I'm 30 and I have
Capitalism.
erectile dysfunction. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's all we really have to say, I think. What else do we have to say?
That's it. I think.
Troy, how goes haven't captured Lilu yet? Gotta get on that space station with the Blue Opera singer, Gary Oldman.
Yes, yep, I do have to do that.
Watch out for Bruce Willis, he might stop you.
I think as far as announcements on my end, I do think we have a
that took me 30 seconds to get that.
we have a one-shot
Yes,
planned
fifth element.
for our first reprieve from Vaesen after the first mystery. So we'll do a break and do a little one-shot with that. The game is called For the Dungeon, and it's very fun, very shenanigans heavy. You essentially play the minions of the big bad evil guy. So that'll be pretty fun. Date on that's yet to be determined because it depends when we finish the first mystery.
And I'm going to ask you this on air, so don't worry about it if it's not true, but we had talked about like continuing those characters if we decided to do that, which I think would be hysterical. Like, do a couple of different For the Dungeons with like the same characters or similar ones if like we have characters who die. You know, so if you
absolutely.
Go from, like,
So
Bob the Goblin to like Rob the Goblin or whatever.
Yes, the cool thing about, or one of the cool things about For the Dungeon is it lends itself to have a very episodic nature. So you can absolutely recycle characters. You can bring characters back from previous adventures. It's pretty funny.
Does that mean we're going to be minions working for different bad guys if we bring back our characters? Like
potentially, or you could be
like the same dungeon, unless the dungeon.
Our long arc is just starting a union. That's like the grand goal.
Oh, that'd be hysterical. Oh my
just
God,
done
that's
at the end of it.
What I want to do now. Just be like, do you know 87% of goblins die in a dungeon, and it's because of working conditions? Just be like a goblin union organizer. I have my character now. I'm going to be
We're a little bit concerned about all of the violence from outsiders. Bob has an arrow in his eye.
I love it. It's going to be great. So
nice.
And that's how they have to talk.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh. Pidgin English. All right. That's all. I'll recap since Amber was so good at recapping all the times that I ran RuneQuest. I'll return the favor and recap what we did now. I just don't remember the names of characters, so help me out with that. So I remember that we faded in over a rainy, gray London, and we were there for a funeral of a very cool guy whose name Arthur Williams, who most of us knew from the society, the London Society. We are all with the society. I think the one who's been the longest is a year at this point.
All new recruits,
We're
generally
all
speaking.
green, untested new recruits. We all have our various issues, which we've not entirely gotten into yet or explored with each other. We were at the funeral. After the funeral, we went back to the society and had a dinner. The main movers and shakers of the society are all leaving to go back to the mythic north and deal with whatever it was the guy who died was dealing with. And so we're left here, and we have a very interesting thing. Some business has come up that no one is able to do. So we got the nod from the leader lady that it is our turn of a bat to go and solve this thing where there's an issue in a town somewhere in the north, I think.
It's an issue in a town somewhere in
Forgive me, British people, but it's somewhere in the north, I think.
Annonsbury and Gloucestershire.
In Gloucestershire.
I think that's how you pronounce that. We pronounce it Gloucester here in New England, so I don't know if it's still Gloucester in the UK.
We pronounce it Gloucester.
Gloucestershire.
Gloucestershire. What is that? It's a freaking whale. That's the way we have to talk. So we're going there because apparently some shenanigans happened around a standing stone, and now, you know what? It's June, but spring ain't come. So there's some problems, and we got to go fix those problems because that's what we do. We fix problems.
Pretty good recap. We fix problems, or we make them worse, or we die trying to fix them or make them worse.
Yeah. TBD, this is our first job on our own without any upper support. Yeah.
We've got this.
Without Dad.
We've got it.
Yes, our investigators are still reeling from the death of Arthur from the Society. His brother Oz and Lorelei, who are one of the few folks still in residence in London at this time. Everybody else is out, or they're in neighboring towns and villages and et cetera in the UK. They are leaving to go back to Norway to meet with Bjorn Christensen, who was Arthur's friend, who he was helping with a mystery of some kind when he died, to get to the bottom of that. Leaving only the Dowager Alma Harcourt, who is kind of the unofficial leader of the Apollonian Society, behind here. She's very old and does not go out investigating any longer. So when Oswald, Arthur's brother, received a letter from an old acquaintance from Cambridge, Edgar Longby, asking for his assistance with the strange goings-on in Brancombe.
Mm-hmm.
Brancombe.
Parish Brancombe, yeah.
Oz has asked you all to respond to his friend as the business with his brother cannot be put off. They are, Oz and Lorelei are leaving in just 3 days, leaving a very short amount of time before they will be gone for you all to make any preparations you need and go forth and meet up with Longby and Brancombe and see what is going on with the unseasonable winter and strange deaths.
Was there more than one strange death or just one?
Strange deaths is in one person noted in the letter and bunch
Animals,
of dead
right?
livestock. Yes.
Cool. All right. Cool. So I remember. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you go first, Christian. Mine wasn't
so polite. Okay. I was going to just say that I remember that we had I know Rosalie had stayed because we drank and shotguns in the basement, which is awesome. And then, so whenever we want to pick up, I think I'm probably going to do some research in the library. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, mine was a similar note. Okay. I thought of what I wanted to do some research on before leaving.
Right.
So Jess, Rosalie and Nora can certainly go together if you want to do that.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
I know Rosalie was spending the night in the Apollonian Society, the Rose House.
Correct.
Nora was returning
Riley
home.
stays there normally right now, right?
Yep.
Yes, Riley has a...
Nora is returning home, and Ronaldo was going to stay in Arthur's apartment.
Yes, that's right. Oh, crap. All right, so you know what? I actually want to have a breakfast scene with Rosalie and Riley. That would be great.
All right. Breakfast is served.
So she's just buttering an English muffin and has some tea.
Mr. Hawkins always
It's
has
just a regular muffin
right
here.
on time, 8 a.m.
Correct.
sharp.
A muffin, as they call it in England.
I think they're actually called something else, like a
Scone.
Scones are different, but actually a
have
scone would be.
scones.
Yeah, I'd rather have a scone. So because
Dude, Ted Lasso Ted Lasso, the quote with the
biscuits.
biscuit, where he goes,
Mm.
"It's like a scone, but it sucks all the spit out of your mouth." Have fun.
Yeah, so I'm buttering a scone. Cup's putting some marmalade on my scones. And yeah. Oh, good morning.
Morning, Rosalie. I didn't realize you had stayed overnight.
Yes, I did. Why shouldn't I?
No, just like I said, didn't realize.
Okay. You should try the marmalade. It's actually very good. Slides it over.
I will pick up a scone and put some marmalade on it, and I will like, yeah, Mrs. Oh, what's her name?
Morley is the housekeeper /
Morley.
cook.
Miss Morley makes excellent
Scones.
no,
Scones?
I'm
What
trying.
do they call them in
to-
Ireland?
I'm just trying to think of the words. I'm also like, when we got back from Montreal, I caught something. So like, I was down all yesterday and this
Fucking
morning.
Canadians and their diseases.
So
I've got a little tickle too in my throat, Ken.
And
Yeah, I
their
got
organized
you, Gav.
crime, honestly.
What's that?
And their organized crime. Jess has stories. I haven't told the story on Jess's behalf, but whenever she's ready.
Holy shit. Yeah, I want to hear about Canadian organized crime.
but no, Miss Morley makes excellent preserves and jams, and her biscuits and scones have always been great the few weeks that I've been staying here.
How long do you think you'll be staying?
Honestly, hopefully not too much longer. I'm hoping I can find some clues as to take me back home.
Well, good luck.
At this point, Lorelai enters the dining room. She's just wearing a nightgown, legs bare, feet bare, walks in yawning. Her hair's all a mess. She goes over, has coffee instead of tea. There's a small pot of coffee that is out. She
Yes,
just starts
sir.
drinking it black, just leans against the little sideboard, looking at y'all.
Crumpets. Cernibus says crumpets.
Yes, that
Crumpets are
is
actually
what it
really good.
is.
Crumpets are really good. Yeah. Oh, good morning, Lorelai.
Morning.
You seem worse for the wear this morning. Rosalie's fine. She can hold her liquor.
Nope, just basking in the afterglow.
In that case, adds a little more to the coffee.
Oh shit! Yeah, she'll get in on
Adds
that.
more. Adds more.
The bitch, yeah. Okay.
Irish
But,
coffee in England, boys.
Yeah.
I think you have a long day ahead of you. You're meeting up with the others?
Oh yeah, some research. Get ready. I'm waiting for Nora to come.
Great. Oz sent a letter by train. I think 6:00 this morning back to Edgar, so he'll be expecting you.
Oh, it's good.
Takes a long slurp. She kind of looks between you two, like reading the just
I'll
kind
just
of
be-
weirdness in the air, and she's like,
I'm just gonna
right.
try to like not look at Riley. Just kind of like flutter up everything, kind of keep looking at the door to see when Nora's gonna get there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I can show up around this time. I'm fully packed. I've got a huge bag with me, probably 2 bags actually for travel. Got a heavy coat.
"Are you leaving today?" Lorelai asks.
I'm not sure when we're leaving, but I'd like to be prepared for whenever we are going to head out.
Very forward thinking of you.
And-
I'll leave you to it. And she just kind of takes another slug of coffee and heads off.
Thank you, Lorelai. Nice to see you again.
Have you eaten, dear?
Oh, no, I have not.
Oh, well, have some scones.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, these look delicious.
Every time Rosa like hands the plate over for scones, she takes another one for herself and just kind of like pocket scones.
Just pocket scones. Your luggage is just full of bread.
Just bread.
Wow, breakfast is really nice here in the mornings, huh? Oh.
Yes, Miss Morley does a fantastic job.
Very lovely.
Miss Morley kind of calls from the adjacent kitchen, and there's plenty of it. Please eat.
Thank you, Miss Morley.
You're welcome, dear.
I think at this point, Ronaldo will show up as well at the house. Last night, he kind of made sure to get a clean shave. And as he was kind of doing that, he was reflecting on some of the memories that he had with Arthur. And then he kind of started combing through whatever personal belongings Arthur may have had at the apartment. Not in a way that was like Snoopy, but in a way that was more kind of in remembrance of his life, like looking at the paintings the painting on his wall, going through his personal effects, clothes, like if there's any spare military uniforms or anything like that. But he was being very thorough. So I don't know if you want me to make a roll or if there's anything that I may have found that may be of help, but
his room has already been gone through by Oz at this point. This was like well after his death that he was buried because his body had to be shipped from overseas. But there were some personal effects and things that were left there. Anything very private was probably taken by Oz. And you notice the lack of very personal things in the room. But you can go ahead and make a investigation check. What are all the skills? My excellent reference sheet does not have them all. I think there's a skill.
Either observation or investigation.
Yeah, it's investigation.
Logic
yes.
Investigation. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a 1 in investigation, and my logic is a 3.
So you roll 4 dice.
Yep.
Okay. I got a 2, a 6, and a 2 and a 1.
So, yeah.
Yep.
No
so
six.
sixes are successes.
So, 1 6.
I don't need to know about any other results, just how many 6s you roll.
Uno.
Okay. So 1 success. You do find most of what is in his room is kind of the less personal thing. So he's got clothes, military uniforms, his grooming items, bags and like luggage and stuff like that. There are a few knives, a collection of like well-kept knives that is still there. There is also, you find, it looks like it might have been personal or possibly sentimental of some sort that Oz might have missed, but they're kind of like between the mattress and like the bed frame. You end up finding it's a small polished like river stone that has like a hole bored through it, and it's irregular. It doesn't look like it was made with tools, and it's on like a little leather cord, and it was just tucked between like the mattress and the bed frame.
That item seems pretty peculiar. I guess I would take that and bring it back with me to the house and mention it to Oz that I found this last night while I was sleeping in the apartment.
Right. You find Oz in the library. He sort of like wakes up as you enter. He's just like asleep on the desk kind of thing, like with a mostly drank glass of scotch, I guess. I don't know.
Lefroy, if you will.
Yeah, scotch would be a very English thing to drink.
Lefroy.
Scotch.
Yeah, at that time. Yeah.
And as you like open the doors to the library room, he like sits up quickly. You just like see that movement, and you realize he was probably sleeping until you came in.
I
Got,
walk over.
A couple like wrinkles kind of in his skin from like sleeping on a book and a pen.
It was probably one of those like overstuffed leather couches with like the fucking button things in them too, like the divots.
Yeah.
Rivets. Yeah.
The upholstered.
Yeah, the upholstery. Yeah, you know the upholstery. Talk about. I mean.
I enter the room with 2 cups of tea, one for me and one for Oz.
Oh,
And I'll hand him the tea and I'll say,
Ronaldo. Oh, thank you. What time is it?
I don't have a watch, but the sun's up.
Right.
I found something peculiar last night at Arthur's apartment. I believe it may be one of his personal effects, and based on where I found it, perhaps it meant something to him, and maybe that might be why you missed it, but it was in between his mattress and his headboard, and I pull out the trinket from my pocket and present it to Oz.
There's an instant moment of like kind of recognition and like just like sadness on his face as he sees that, but also like tinged with a little bit of endearment. Like the grief is just raw at the whatever memory it is, but you can tell like it means something to him immediately. He's like, he holds his hand out for it and he's like, wow, I haven't seen this in years. It's a hag's eye or hagstone. It's made by the dripping of water, usually from a cave or embankment on a river stone. It's one of the it's from one of Arthur's first missions. Apuka gave it to him.
Ronaldo kind of smiles and says, well, I guess it belongs to you now.
Why don't you take it with you on your first investigation for luck?
He kind of turns his head curiously at that and says,
the legends say that when you peer through the hole, it shows things as they really are. Never seen it to have any any actual ability, and I don't believe Arthur had either, but he'd always held on to it. Reminded him in the early days that the world has more than it appears, to keep an open mind.
Ronaldo kind of gives a gentle smile and concedes and nods his head. He'll take the trinket and he'll kind of look over at June and he'll say, well, June, what do you think? And he'll kind of put it in his pocket.
Well, I found a couple things last night. I just need a few moments to gather it. Couldn't find the text that I recall talking about with Longby, unfortunately, but found a couple things on the standing stones of the area. Fairy mounds and
with how extensive the library is here, I'm honestly surprised you found anything. And he kind of smiles and then says, enjoy your tea. And he leaves the room.
As we bust in, probably, yes.
Good.
He's like, quiet.
Door explodes.
Pass Ronaldo on your way toward the library, unless there's more you wanted to do in the dining room.
No.
Besides eat.
No, I was just going to ask everyone what they kind of make of the information that we've gotten. And I do think leaving sooner rather than later. If there is another death that is imminent to be done for an innocent man, then it might be better to get there earlier than later.
Oh, I agree.
How far-ish? Do we know how far-ish the travel would be? Because we could also do some research on the ride there.
You know, it tells me about the route, but gives me no information on the distances involved.
Is it by train, Amber?
It involves this thing.
Forget, we're in England.
You are in London right now.
We are in London. So if it's
the
by
journey,
train or horse, that's still a horse would be a lot longer. The train is probably
it involves mostly trains.
Okay, so
it involves
okay.
That's probably like a day or two, honestly.
So when I wrote, I remember I got like way into this, like more than I should, when I was writing for Gaslight Call of Cthulhu. And
from London, you take a train to Bristol and then another train toward Gloucester, and
like 4
stop
hours.
at a small town of Annonsbury.
Yeah.
And that is as close as you can get to
That's the main city,
town.
before we get to.
Yep. Gloucester is a city. Annonsbury is a town that is on the rail stop. And it is the closest you can get to Brancombe.
So when I was doing like the longest route in England in like 1890. I had to do one where like someone could conceivably take a train all the way up to Scotland, and it was like 12 hours. I actually found like how long the train rides were in like a travel guide. So it's probably like a couple hours, like 4 hours.
So I was going to say it's probably going to be like a day's travel.
Yeah. The train gets you to within like a mile and a half of the town. So
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So like it would be like a day's travel. Yeah.
Not including the layover that you need to make for the train switch.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I think leaving rather than later, gathering as much information as we can, and
perhaps spend the morning researching in the library and then get an afternoon train.
Sure. I mean, that means we'd arrive there. Sure.
Just some time to find lodging.
Sure.
Now, did the letter kind of indicate how long they've been
in winter?
Issues have been going on.
It did not. From the nature of the letter and the fact that the accused is still in the county jail and it does not appear he has had a trial or anything, it cannot be that long ago.
Okay.
Unless the cold was preceding the death. But from the actual death, it seems like the death was recent and probably the reason he wrote the letter.
Fair enough.
Yes, the young man that is being held responsible right now would not be in jail for months. So,
do we know?
We can assume for maybe like a week or so.
Yeah, a week or two.
Yeah. I was going to say, do we know how long it's been since we received the letter to like today?
Oz got the letter just like the day before yesterday.
Okay, I see.
It was pretty.
Okay. So it's fairly fresh. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's why don't we hit the books then?
I don't know if the information I'm looking for is actually in books or if I would have to go talk to a specialist and things like that. I would like to do some research on my focus is going to be on the medicine skill. It's really about just like healing frostbite or how long the body can be submerged under ice water, how long you can like hold your breath, kind of surviving the cold and surviving ice water and things like that.
Okay. You can find a couple kind of the text is not on surviving winter conditions. It is more a general survival text, like wilderness survival text that have sections on enduring cold. So you can start there right at the Rose House. If you want to pursue that further, you may have to speak to like a doctor or someone.
Yeah. I figured that might be what I would need to do.
Yeah. So, but you can get started with Rosalie and then be like, I'm gonna pop by maybe the university or something. Oz works there, so maybe by virtue of being a friend of Oz, you might be able to speak to somebody with some medical expertise.
I'm going to research. I'm going to start in the library. I think I should probably be okay with just the library, but I'm looking for like folklore, like British Isles folklore. Ideally, if I could find it for like the Gloucester region.
Gloucester. Well, I know. In England, is it Gloucestershire or is it Gloucester?
Gloucester. If I can find like specifically like springtime rituals, like maypole, like those sorts of things.
All right.
And Ronaldo is going to head back to the graveyard where they recently buried Arthur. And he's going to look around. Particularly, he's going to stop by Arthur's tombstone and look around through the Hag's Eye.
Oh, that's right. You did possibly see your dog. Possibly saw something last time you were there. That's right.
All right, Riley, what will you be up to today? Or this morning before you depart in the afternoon?
Riley O'Day.
Sorry.
O'Day.
Yeah, I was thinking about like what Riley could do and anything that I would probably talk with Arthur about the Oswald.
You go to the grave also and talk with Arthur.
To talk about the standing stones.
That's fair.
Right. you'll probably be headed to the library as well, as that is where Oz is.
Yes.
All right. We are going to do the library first. You'll finish up your breakfast past Ronaldo in the hallway. What's up, Ronaldo? And head on into the library where Oz is, he's at a desk gathering some papers and shifting some books around. He's got a cup of tea with him. He looks haggard. He slept in his clothes last night here in the library. And apparently got up at like 6 a.m. to go and mail something and then came back and fell asleep again. Like, it's been a night. But you all kind of waltz on in there. Yeah. And he looks up at you all and he's like, oh, great. Getting an early start to things. I did some preliminary research last night. I was unable to locate the text I remember discussing with Edgar, but I did find a few other books that reference some of the folk tales surrounding the witches and fair folk in the Brancombe area, as well as some more general text on Neolithic standing stones of the region, sort of in a broader sense. Those are here. I didn't comb through everything in the library, so there may be a few more, but I think this is a good place for you to start. Is there anything else I can do for you?
You've done more than enough already, Arthur. I worry about you and your health. You must really prepare.
If you keep calling him his dead brother, it's gonna get worse.
I apologize about that.
No worries. It became a brainworm now for everyone.
I know. Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
It's all right. You've done quite enough already. You must take care of your own health. You've got quite a journey ahead of you. I will handle the rest.
All right. Well,
thank you.
If I don't see you all before you depart, good luck and Godspeed. Thank you for taking this on for me.
Of course.
I have a few things to take care of at the university before I go. And he just sort of nods and heads out.
I will start on the folklore if anyone else is interested in the standing stones.
I'll start with the standing stones, and I'll quickly I'll try to browse the library a little bit more to see if I may be able to find that book that Oz was.
I think it would be a good idea to recruit Mr. Hawkins. He's read pretty much everything here.
That is true.
So I think he would be a good resource to pull whatever it is we're looking for and whatever it is I'm looking for as well.
All right. Ellis is easy enough to find. He's in his office right now doing some papery business type things that go in hand in running the Rose House. But he is happy to assist.
Yes, if we could bother you for a couple of minutes, Mr. Hawkins, we're looking for some very specific books that we think you'll be able to locate probably faster than we can.
Of course. I take it has something to do with the Brancombe local folklore and standing stones?
Well,
perhaps
I was
fairy mounts.
Hoping to look at surviving ice.
He kind of raises an eyebrow. Oh. All right. We do have a few survival guides as well as some journals from some of our more from some of the members in antiquity who did some more kind of transcontinental explorations to different areas. Let me get you those.
Yes. And I think Riley did want to look at the standing stones and things like that in folklore, but
yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking in particular. Yes.
Yeah.
He follows you back to the library and starts right through the shelves, pulling a title here and there. He gets you 3 different books, Eleanor. One of them is like a survival guide about, sort of regional weather, including winters and things and different flora and fauna of the area, that sort of thing. He also gets you 2 journals from since expired members of the society's past who did a lot of transcontinental exploration. One of them did a expedition to Antarctica. And there's, in addition to being quite a good read, there is useful information in there as well for what you are looking for.
Nothing like science-y, anatomy, biology type of books.
For medicinal treatments, he does have some medical texts. They are very they're very academic, so they're a little bit hard to parse through without a medical background and things. But
Fair.
he gets that for you as well.
Fair.
Riley, he in short order finds. He actually says that Oz did a pretty good job pulling titles there. There's just a couple more that he would recommend and add to the pile. And he does that as well. With your gathered materials. And Rosalie, he finds in addition, another tome to the folklore ones that Oz had pulled for you. And all this takes him like 6 minutes. He's just like boop, boop, boop.
He's a good reference librarian.
He's an excellent reference librarian. And he tells you, he'll be in his office or about the house attending to a few things. If there's any further research that you would like to get any assistance with, don't hesitate to bother him. And he also says that your train tickets will be delivered by courier by noon.
Lovely.
And then he heads out of the library.
Very efficient.
Very on top of things, yeah.
Those of you with texts and research to begin, you may make learning tests for me.
Learning.
Oh, so that's we roll a learning
One
test,
success. One.
which is
One
an
six.
actual skill here. Okay.
Yeah, learning logic.
Damn. One success as well.
Go ahead and roll a bonus die, everyone, as well, for having both the assistance of Hawkins and Oswald, as well as access to this library.
Full house. No successes, though.
Dang. Still only one success.
All right, everybody got at least one success.
Yeah.
Leslie got two. Most tests in Vaesen only require one success unless they get particularly challenging. So, in summary of your findings, Eleanor, your research into both Arctic environments as well as hypothermia, different damages to tissues involved in cold and whatnot, survival techniques, local flora and fauna, you may gain an advantage in the related skill of your choice. I assume you were going for medicine?
I was going for medicine, yes.
You may gain advantage for the mystery in medicine.
Okay.
Riley, you were looking into the standing stones and sort of more anthropological findings of the areas and whatnot.
Yes.
Did Riley have, you didn't have any
I did not get a
successes?
success, though.
You didn't get any success. I thought you got only one.
didn't.
Okay.
Nope.
You're browsing through the texts and whatnot, and most of what you're reading is just very general. Kind of the only information you really chart up is that there are a lot of standing stones dotting the region's countryside and whatnot. In the particular region that you are heading toward, it is given sort of a broad description, but one of the features that are the existence of like different mounds. A lot of them appear to have been, they are of some sort of construction. They're suspected to be man-made in some way. Burial mounds tend to be what most of the scholars seem to agree that they are, though majority of them have not been excavated, or if they have, not much has been found. They are very old. And the other thing you find is that there are a lot of standing stones throughout the countryside that are not formed into circles and do not appear to be connected in any way, like singular standing stones that are suspected to be of Neolithic construction, man-made or erected in some way, but like there's no carvings on them. They're not part of a circle or a larger formation. They're just like hanging out there. And that's about all you really get.
So like solo
That's
standing
fair.
stones.
Yep, that's just a notable feature of some of the standing stones in the region. They're like, hey, it's not a Stonehenge. Doesn't appear to be aligned with any constellation. It's just kind of there and nobody knows why.
Look at this square brick.
Yep.
They're like, we stood the stone.
A lot of
up,
people
dog.
went through a
Good
lot
job,
of effort
dog.
to
We
get that
stand
rock
stone
there.
up.
And
Yep.
there appears to be no rhyme or
Yeah.
reason to it.
Much brick, such wow.
Such wow.
Very wow. Christian, you have a
Yes.
little bit better luck looking into the local kind of folklores and legends of the general areas. You find several sort of folk tales and things revolving the mounds, and a lot of local folklore, rather than being like burial mounds, are associated with specific like historical figures. They're associated with like portals to the fairy world, or places where fairies will appear on certain nights to do dances and different rituals and whatnot.
Okay.
So there are a lot of stories regarding that. A lot of stories involving like travelers getting pulled into said fairy circles, being forced to dance until death, or entering the Fey realms through the circles. Fey getting terribly offended when people walk over a burial mound because it crosses one of their paths or constructions, and then seeking their terrible vengeances and whatnot.
Okay.
So those are of note. You also find maybe a dozen different folklores about specific witches who were their various crimes and whatnot, and how they were defeated usually by holy men in some sort, and turned into standing stones as a punishment, almost like in a biblical pillar of salt kind of way. So there are a lot of standing stones that are associated with.
That was in the letter.
Yep, there are a lot of standing stones that are associated with specific witches who were supposedly turned into these stones by different holy men.
There's the Catholicism.
If you're watching her, you see Rosalie like visibly scoff as she's reading about the witches turned into stones by holy men.
Fucking holy
She's
men.
just like.
And along with that, you read up a bit more on like some witch folklore about witches having, the third nipple with which they nurse their familiars, being marked by the devil's claws in different ways, things like that.
Is everything
colder than a witch's tit? It comes from somewhere. It comes from these legends.
Is everything okay, Rosalie?
Oh yes, it's just some of this stuff is just so preposterous. That's all.
If you would like to gain your advantage involving a learning or a learning test, it would probably be
or investigation
involving local folklores and whatnot. You may gain advantage for that.
I'll take that. That's what I'll take. Local folklore.
Yep. So a learning test at some point, you can use your research and preparation into the local folklore to assist you with that. You will gain advantage.
That is a very cool feature of the game. You can just like pocket that and later on be like, oh, but I read about this stuff, without necessarily knowing what the thing is. I love those sorts of things.
Yeah, it is a very cool feature.
It is. Sometimes it's a shot in the dark, though, too. I often tend to research things that don't turn out.
You never know. It's like you put something in your toolbox and you never know if you're going to need it or not.
Yeah.
It's like in our session 0, we had the opportunity to say, hey, if you wanted to train with your gun, this could be an opportunity to get a bonus die during the thing, but you may never use your gun.
Yep. You don't know if it's what you're gonna need advantage on.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, that is what I will research, and I'll take some notes so that way I can like have the stuff with me and kind of pack it into my satchel next to my scones.
Next to your pocket scones.
I can't read it. It's covered in melted fucking chocolate. God damn it. Buttery, flaky notes.
Although, one moment, I just got to look something up real quick for your scene here.
I'll give you a little. I'll give you a little scene setting here. So, Ronaldo walks. What's the environment like outside? Is it foggy? Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it raining?
It is not as gray and rainy as it was the day before. It is overcast, but currently the skies are dry.
Okay.
And it is June, so it's humid. It's humid. It is humid, not sweltering exactly like a tropical environment, but it's warm and it's humid.
So Ronaldo walks with June to the graveyard, and he'll go in through whatever the main entrance is, the most traveled entrance. And when he gets to the entrance, he stops at the gate and he kneels down next to June and he kind of pets her and rubs her ears and stuff like that and says, all right, girl, well, 4 eyes are better than 2. Why don't you go on and let me know if you see anything? And he kind of lets go of her leash, and then he walks into the graveyard and lets June go on her own.
She sort of trots along, sniffing the ground, just sort of wandering about, checking things out. She seems relatively relaxed. She's not on edge or anything right now. Just walking about. Here. All right, Ronaldo, you enter the graveyard as well. June is sort of ranging just casually ahead of you. Do you head directly to the gravesite?
I'm actually going to take a little bit of time to look at some of the other tombstones to see if I notice any sort of like other military members that may have been buried here, or any insignia that any of the tombstones have that might show up more often than not. I'm also going to look for dates as well, kind of like what kind of the oldest tombstones are that I can make out. I know what the youngest one is, so.
All right. This is not the fanciest cemetery or the largest cemetery in London. It's sort of a middle class cemetery from what you gather, looking at the quality of the headstones and the number of like actual like sculptures and things on there. There are a few military members throughout, fair number of them. Some of the older headstones are like 150, 160 years ago. So it's not like ancient, like one of the original London graveyards, but you know, it's been around for a while. It's not a new one.
Yeah.
Just sort of middling, almost unremarkable in some ways, other than this is definitely not a place where paupers are buried. Certainly not the high class. You don't see any nobles there. You might actually see one or two names or titles there, and those are on military members only.
Okay.
Other than that, it looks like from the quality of the stones and whatnot, just like middle class folk, respectable place. The grounds are nicely kept. They're not gorgeously guarded with like flowering plants or anything. Everything's neatly trimmed. The hedges are cut and everything. It's quiet. It's nice.
Okay. Is there anybody else in the graveyard right now?
Yeah, there are a couple people milling about. It's a decent sized graveyard. There's a few hundred stones and whatnot. So people are, you see like a couple, there are women. There are several women specifically, couple children in tow here. There look like probably widows or mothers who have lost sons, wearing black, kind of.
I'll just kind of I'll keep them in mind and make sure that June doesn't, scare any of them or startle them, because she's wandering around not on a leash and she's a big dog. So
they don't seem to be too concerned. She's not displaying sort of any concerning behavior at all. She's just minding her own business, sniffing stuff. One of the kids kind of like tugs on their mother's skirts and like points at the dog. Looks like they want to go pet it, and the mom's like, no.
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 Okay. I guess after that kind of preliminary glancing and looking around, I will head to Arthur's tombstone, and I will pull out the hag's eye, and I will look around.
Right. You peer through the center of the stone, and looking around, and everything looks just ordinary to you. June comes and stands beside you and just sort of sits beside the grave unprompted. Just hangs out there very quietly while you look around. It only happens for a moment. You're not sure that you see it at all, or it could just be like mist or dew or something. But for a moment through the hag's eye, you see like a curl of what looks like mist just kind of rolling off the soil near Arthur's stone. And then you're like, oh, the motion is kind of what catches your eye for that. The pale motion of like the wisp of mist or smoke or something. And when you look again at it, it's gone. That's the only thing that stands out to you. But again, you came here looking for something. You're not sure if you're finding what you wanted to, regardless of what is there.
No, I wasn't really looking for anything in particular. So I'll after observing that, I'll just sit down by the gravestone, and I'll just pull out some day-old bread from yesterday, and I'll just have a meal with Arthur.
Get bread. Solidarity, bro.
That's right.
Arthur's company is quieter than you remember, but still good company.
And when I'm done with that, I will go ahead and walk back to the house.
Right. Our folks are embroiled in their various researches, getting various places or not getting places at all, depending on who they are. When you arrive, Ronaldo, there is like a tray of like tea sandwiches and some tea that has been set out for folks to nibble at and whatnot in the library. But everybody is kind of in their pages right now.
Occasionally, Rosalie slips a tea sandwich into her bag as well.
You're like, yes, cucumber mayo.
One needs lunch.
Yeah, I think I'll just sit down in the library and enjoy everyone's company. I'm not reading or perusing any books or anything. Just sitting down with June.
If ice is a thing in England, Nora
Ice?
is. I don't know.
Ice is ice is a thing
for
in
that
England.
time.
You can order a big old block of ice for your cold box. If you've got one and you've got the money, yep, that's a thing. There is some ice in Rose House. The cold box is restocked weekly.
Nora's kind of just sticking her hands and sometimes feet into ice and kind of seeing what happens to her skin as that happens.
What the fuck, Nora?
Yeah.
People
Nora's
eat
like,
that. And you're putting your
do
feet
some
and hands
research.
on it, you nasty.
That
Well, I
feels
hope
sharp.
they don't eat it after.
Well, they won't now. You just used all the ice for your feet.
Doing some
What
research.
is the matter with
Doing some
you?
research.
I will also, Rosalie will occasionally reach into her bag and feed June something out of it.
Pocket stones.
And give her head scritches.
June happily munches along on the biscuits. But you, it's easy enough to while away the morning with your various researches and or hanging out. Elias Hawkins does appear at the library doors with a handful of train tickets for you. He's like, the tickets have come in. Train departs in an hour and a half, so feel free to take any texts with you that you wish to keep perusing, but you'll probably want to get packing soon. I can have a coach bring you to the station.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. You are always very prepared.
Don't hesitate to write back to me if you have any inquiries. I can look into things while you're away.
Oh, great.
With a few coins, mail travels fast.
Do we get paid by this place?
You do not.
Strictly volunteer service.
Yep, this is a secret society of people who are dedicating their resources to the pursuit of the goal versus being paid.
We do get housing and food here, though, which is nice.
Yes, you
us,
can always find
For some of us
hospitality at the Rose
starving
House.
food, folks.
I think I will take the coach home if that's all right with everyone. Quickly.
Sure.
Let's have a few things to grab.
Yes.
I'll ask Mr. Hawkins if I could perhaps borrow a winter coat. I don't have one, and it might be cold where we're going.
Will definitely be cold.
He's like, of course, I'll get some coats and gloves for all of you.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good idea, Troy, because I definitely don't have any of that stuff.
Leave it to the poor guy with nothing.
Yep. Good thinking, bro. Yeah, so Rosalie will take the coach home. Is it a nice coach?
It's a cab. He has ordered a coach.
It's just like it's just a regular ass handsome cab. All right, so fairly ubiquitous throughout London.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so all right, so I'll take the cab home. Rosalie lives in a very shitty area, and goes into her I picture it as like a multi families. If this was like a 6-family, there are like 18 families living here, right? Because they just packed these neighborhoods with people. So she has like a little area that's like a studio that's also her like home. So she kind of goes in there and she's dodging Ludwig, her landlord, and she grabs just a couple things. Enough, it all fits in her satchel. She doesn't have luggage anymore, but she just grabs her sketch pad, her art supplies, and then something else that's just wrapped in cloth that she just kind of sticks in there. Something about yay big.
Secret parcel.
Secret parcel. And then takes the cab right back. Dodging, and I will make a stealth roll if you want me to, trying to dodge Ludwig the whole time.
You know what? Yeah, go for it.
Good, because I have I have a lot of dice on that, and one just literally rolled across the room. I will be right back. I have to go get that one.
Watch my back.
Nice.
I gotta pull up another chart.
Right,
Christian just split the crotch of his pants again and threw out my back in one fell swoop.
My crotch of my pants is A-okay now. Thank you, Troy, though, for your concern. So 6. I got 8 dice here for stealth.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Damn. You're a stealthy
Min-maxing.
stealthy artist.
1 success. No, 2 successes. 2 successes.
Plenty of successes. You see Ludwig kind of bumbling about downstairs, and you take the fire escape.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, do that thing. Yeah. Yeet. And jump in the cab and just get out of there as soon as I can.
All right. You make it back in plenty of time. Folks are wrapping up, packing any books and things that they want to take with them. Any last minute preparations?
Nope. I'm keeping a watchful eye on June and just trying to keep some distance. So like when we get into the cab to the train, I try to make sure I'm a little bit farther from June.
I do the same thing, but with Riley.
She's a really chill dog. You don't think you've ever seen her particularly riled up or excited unless you've seen some sort of violent or threatening situation that she has been involved in when she gets protective. But when she's in good company and nothing's wrong, she's just hanging out, man.
Yeah. Rosalie tries to keep June between her and Riley, if that's acceptable. That can be somehow arranged within the cab. Yeah,
I think she likes you, Rosalie. So she
does.
All you have to do is kind of hold out your hand to her, and she comes on over. You know,
I give her she gets tons of attention from me.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of pats.
Occasionally, I look at Riley and whisper something. About
you also your pockets are always full of food. So yes, you are like her favorite person besides Ronaldo.
She's like me for real with animals, like just constantly giving them food and overfeeding. With me with anyone, actually. Go on.
The last thing to consider is if anybody wishes to make any purchases in London before they depart.
I have no money, so I can't do that because I'm fucking poor.
Poor as shit. So money is abstract in this game. You have a resource value. That is your dice pool for acquiring things and stuff. There is also something called capital, which I do not fully understand how it works. I just see that it is a thing on this cheat sheet.
I have no capital because I am Poe.
Anybody who is a resource 4 or higher has capital. And I will, if you have 4 or higher, let me know and I will look up what that does. I believe you can spend that mid-mystery for stuff.
I am Poe.
I'm also poor.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I have
Everybody
one
is
capital,
broke, so I don't need to
and
know
it
how
is the
capital
P
works.
in poor.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Nice try. Nice.
With no purchases to make, you all head toward the waiting coach. Mr. Hawkins kind of sees you to the door, reminds you again, please write if there is any trouble or you need anything from me. I can get in contact with Lady Harcourt if needed. Be careful. See you soon. And you load on into the cab and head down to the train station.
Been a while since I've been on a train.
Chugga chugga chew. You are riding coach because we're not rich.
I don't think I've ever left London before. This might be my first time.
Really? Never?
No, not really. Most of my travels have been within the city.
The countryside's quite beautiful.
Have you left London often, Rosalie?
Yes, well, I'm not originally from London, so yes.
Oh, I did not know.
No, I grew up, she looks at Riley, outside of London.
Yes, looks at Riley.
Fucking bird. Riley, you're just like, there's so much like he's not one of us going on right now. Even the dog is watching you like.
That's fair. I didn't grow up in London either.
Yeah.
Hey, Ronaldo didn't even grow up in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Ronaldo didn't grow up. He was just old.
I forget
where the Italian accent in the dark.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So are you really 54 or are you just really like 25, but you just look really old because you're like one of those like guys who just like, you get
rock
that
hard
character
25.
from like,
it hasn't
character from working in the fields and stuff.
Right. Exactly. Yes, both.
But you have a dog, so you're like instantly friendly.
Yeah, exactly. You're completely trustworthy because you have a dog.
Yeah.
Nobody with a dog.
The animal trusts you, yeah.
Correct.
You load on with the crowd onto the train. Coach seats, so you got like little bench style seats. You're all next to each other. But you load on in, train chugga chugga choo choos out of London, and before you know it, you are leaving the city in the pervasive gray smog behind, and sunlight is peeking through the overcast clouds of the countryside, painting the hills of beautiful, like emerald green in patches where the light lands. And you are just rolling on through. The countryside is very pretty. There's lots of rolling hills and moors. You see lots of flocks of as you get farther out, lots of flocks of sheep mostly. Tiny little villages and farmsteads dotting the countryside between kind of the larger towns and small cities that are stopped at along the way.
Rosalie will sketch while we ride. She's making a sketch, not of the countryside because it's going by too quickly, but of like the people on the train, like her fellow passengers. She's making like a kind of like slice of life thing. And if you're looking
the
over
back
her
of
shoulder,
this guy's head,
right? Just like here's a cabin, and these people, like the mom was like, "What the fuck" with the kid and that sort of stuff.
The
but
girl
like,
with the little dolly, like
yeah. But if you look closer, at it, if you wanted to, and you were interested, except for Riley, because she'll like move it out of his way. She'll just kind of like do this thing, like, "Why you copying my answers, man?" If he looks at it. No, I'm just kidding. He can look at it too.
Riley can't catch a break.
Yeah. If you look closer, you'll find like there are like certain sinister elements of it. So like, yes, the little girl is playing with the doll, but if you look closely at the doll, it always looks like the doll is sentient and like telling her a secret. It has like some sort of like sinister glint in his eyes. Or like,
doll's got cloven feet.
Correct. Or like, yes, the mom is like the little kid that like the mom is exhausted with is like looking under the bench, and there's something like squatting back there under the bench in the shadows that you can't quite make out. Or like, just like little things like that. Or yeah, there's a guy in the back reading a newspaper, but he has cloven feet, but nobody's noticed. Just little things.
It's like that piece of art
like
that I see circulating.
Finger. Yeah.
Where it's like a cafe scene, but like some guy's got like a tentacle for an arm and shit. You're like, this is all wrong.
Yeah. That, but a little more subtle. Like you really have to look at it to find the things. Yeah. Like there's, instead of the guy has like an extra finger on his left hand when he's reading the newspaper, just like stuff like that.
AI, say no more.
Yeah, AI art. Right. Exactly. The old sixth finger.
All right. The trip, including the layover, takes 6 or so hours. It is getting pretty dark by the time you pull in. It's not full sunset yet. The sun is setting. The sky is kind of orangey, lights low, shadows are long when you pull into the town of Annensberg. Sorry,
Didn't write this.
I think during the duration of this trip, the 6 hours that we're on the train,
Annensberg.
I think Ronaldo is going to, he kind of clears his throat and looks around at the rest of you and he says, "We will be traveling for quite some time. No one knows how long we'll be here on this investigation. I think perhaps it's a good idea if we get to know a little bit more about one another." And he kind of looks around
sketching and like kind of gives you a death stare at that.
He kind of offers you a genuine smile to try to disarm your skepticism. And he turns and looks at the rest of you and he says, "I'll go first." And he says, "Well, as you know, I'm not from this country. I grew up quite a ways away in Italy. And I was actually raised by nuns. That is where I received all of my formal education." And
you poor thing.
He looks at you. Nuns, smacks ruler into palm.
Yeah.
He looks at you kind of half jokingly and half not, and he says, "I can assure you that living in the hospitality of the nuns was certainly not the worst place I've ever lived. It was not the hardest life I ever had to live." And he looks at the rest of you and he says, "But I do love traveling. I love walking. And June here has been keeping me company now for a couple of years. How about
June
yourselves?"
Is staring very fixedly at Eleanor's luggage.
Who is?
June.
At Eleanor's luggage?
Yep. She's not sniffing it, not barking at it. She's just staring at it.
Ooh, I want to take out my hag's eye and take a peek, but not right now. I can't interrupt this moment.
Damn it. Staring at June back.
Sweating.
We can't find the body.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not really sure why I was recruited into the society. I suppose I have the touch like everyone else, but my skills aren't really typical from what I see of many of the other.
Wrong sense, just the touch.
I didn't mean like I didn't mean like physical touch. I just meant like metaphorical touch of like being.
The touch.
You have a touch of the sight.
Yes. That's what I meant.
It was like wrong sense.
Yes,
I have
yeah.
to smell.
Yes, exactly. That many of the other investigators and even in the history of this place. So I'm not really sure. I guess I'm learning still, and I hope to gain some skills from all of you and learn more. And yeah, I'm not really sure why I'm here, Ronaldo. But I grew up in London, as I mentioned before. Never really been out of the countryside. It does seem nice.
Ronaldo kind of looks at you and he says, thank you for sharing.
No, thank you for asking, Ronaldo. It's a good point. We're going to be together for goodness knows how long. We don't know how long the others are going to be away, so this might not be the one and only mission we go on while they're in their travels.
And if nothing else, we have 6 hours on this train.
Yes.
Hydrate.
Well, you have a very nice
My kids never brought me a beer. I can't hydrate.
Kids bring me a beer and then they just
failed.
vanish. They're drinking the beer.
He's like, go grab a beer out of the fridge. He didn't say bring it
You're
to
like,
me.
okay. Drinking it themselves.
You have a very nice dog. June has always been very friendly.
She's my dearest and most treasured companion.
Staring at your luggage.
She seems like a very nice one to have.
And I'll just, without looking at her, I'll just pet her head, like knowingly that she's staring at your luggage.
Her head does a little bop, bop.
Huck my luggage a little.
Doesn't move her gaze.
Huck my luggage a little bit behind me.
Would anybody else care to share?
They're both like, nope.
Riley holds up the newspaper higher.
Riley, he'll kind of glaze over the specifics. This was my first time being in London myself. Always grew up born and raised in County Clare there.
Ronaldo is you can tell Ronaldo is a little dissatisfied with the ambiguity of your response, and he says, Riley, how about you were a bartender for some time back home. What's your favorite drink?
Yeah, I wasn't like ending it there. He was going on, but I was just trying to think what else, how much he would have revealed. I do think that depending on who you ask, I know I can't read my own handwriting. What's Sarah's character's name? Cresthea?
Cecilia Evans.
Krusty is really good though, but it's
Cecilia Evans.
Rusty.
Krustia.
Chris. I was saying Crescilia.
No, it's Cecilia.
Yeah.
Because my second C looks like an R. That's why. Yeah. So it looks like CERE. So I was like, crap. Okay, but Cecilia, has been asking Riley about his past and stuff. But he does go on like he was a majority a instrument maker and barkeep when that time goes down, when it was a slow time for the instruments. And actually throughout this trip he does have a pocket whistle he does take out and play for a little bit here and there.
When you do that, actually, Rosalie hums and sings along usually.
The kids on the train
we can bond on.
are watching you play, Riley.
Ooh.
You get a couple uglier looks from some more curmudgeon-y folks.
This is Coach. There's no curmudgeon-y folks.
Nowhere is free of curmudgeons, my friend.
That's true. Especially in England. They're like, oh, the Irish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ronaldo says, oh, so a man of dual talents. You both serve the spirits to others and lift the spirits of others. And he kind of at that, kind of pans over to you, Rosalie, and he
It's the
says,
saddest
"Yes."
melody you've ever heard. The deep sadness of the Irish.
And he serves you Rumpelmans. Rosalie, how about yourself?
Rosalie looks up from her sketch. She's finished the sketch of the people on the train, and now she's working on a face. And it is a face that's like quite disturbing. It's a very angular face. Very like almost like would look like a devil, perhaps. But it has like she's using green in it. Actually, no, it's not, because this is just pencil. So it's dark, but it's a very angular face, and there's like a third eye in the middle of the forehead and very pointy ears, and almost like a crown of like leaves around it. And she looks up from that. I did not grow up in London. I grew up on Dartmoor in Devon. I suppose you could say I came from a good family, the Bargroves. They have land out there. But, I didn't always get along with Daddy, and some things happened, and I wound up in London.
Thank you for sharing. Ronaldo kind of concedes the exercise with, now these bits of information we have chosen to share with one another, they are ours to keep. And these ties that bind us will perhaps serve us on our adventures ahead. Only time will tell.
Would you like to pick a card, Ronaldo?
Oh, magic. She puts a thing away right away.
Ooh, magic.
You can tell Ronaldo is actually a little his initial like knee-jerk response betrays his well upkept demeanor, I guess. But he will slide forward and say, a magic trick then.
Yeah. Yes.
I would love to.
Feel free to show the kids, but don't give it away.
Let's see if June can spot it out.
I'm trying to do a regular magic trick. We'll see how that. I'm sure I can. I probably fumble a few cards, but I ask you to put it back into the deck. And
although as you put the card back in the deck, you get a little paper cut right on your finger. God damn it.
Okay. I will man, my fingers are like leather, bro. That's impressive.
Yeah.
These fucking things are
right
like
there.
Okay. Sharp cards for a sharp wit. And,
yours or mine?
He bows his head respectfully at the compliment. Mm-hmm. And he says, may I try something? And before you like go to pick the card that he gets, he pulls out the hagstone and he looks at the cards. Just seeing if I can see what you're up to here.
Sure. I'm just doing like a basic card trick for the kids.
Ronaldo will also use this opportunity to take a quick peek at her bag that's tucked behind her. He's kind of glancing all around like.
Cards look normal. People look normal. Just as you glance at her bag, a shaft of sunlight comes through the window and touches the bag. Just pure happenstance of the train light just happened at the same time, and then it's gone in a flash.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Okay. Show me my card.
I show you the wrong card.
You're like, I pretend it's the right card.
Yeah. What do you do? Is this your card?
I will say, I'll look at you and I'll kind of scratch my head and I'll say, I'm afraid I've forgotten. In my harmless old man voice. I can't seem to remember what my card was.
But I don't remember from spades or clubs.
Okay, well, I guess that's something. Maybe that's what I intended. Okay. I'll pick up the cards that have fallen from the ground and just keep shuffling and practicing with myself. Thank you.
Yeah, I got it. All right. She's the worst magician.
That was very
impressive.
leave
it up to you.
She says, and then Rosalie says, that was very impressive, Nora.
You, Rosalie. I like your drawing.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I like you're looking at the scuttly bits under the seat drawing.
You are very,
I
very
just need-
talented.
Oh, I just really a dabbler. I've been lucky enough to sell a couple of my paintings, but
Are they all
Yeah.
like this?
oh no, some are much different. This is just a little sketch of a scene of life. Here, let me show you some other ones. And she kind of sips back to some sketches. She flips back, and she has one that is it's a woman, it's a female figure, nude, and she has
Oh.
2 sets of arms, like,
Mhm.
and she has not only like 3 eyes, she has like actually like 3 sets of eyes, so 6, right? Boom, boom, boom on her forehead,
Very
and
arachnid.
fangs, and she's weaving a web.
Mm, mm.
She's in the middle of a web.
Arachne Solara.
Yeah,
I see.
I call this one the Weaver. I actually did wind up painting this one, and I sold it.
They're staring
I've
at me now,
never-
Troy. God damn it.
I've
Troy.
Oh shit! If you haven't seen our
our
The-
chats. No one has seen our chats but us.
no,
Good
no, if
Society.
you haven't seen
Oh.
Good Society that was ran by Sarah, you absolutely need to watch it. It was arguably my favorite game we've played since we've started this whole thing in the past 2 years.
Yeah,
It's actually one of my
Yeah.
favorites too.
same
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it was a
That
good
was a
one.
lot of fun.
Golden.
So
Yeah.
good. Great interaction between the characters. It's a diceless role-playing game. It was just fantastic.
And it had boob jokes.
It had
But-
boobs.
But yes,
Yes, but there are indeed boobs on the spinner, as I call it. And,
yes. Nora
yeah.
is quite impressed with your artwork. She is a bit shocked and scandalized too, but she can tell that you're very talented, and she
She's
says
like,
so.
it's all right there.
yeah, it's all right there. Rosalie, don't hold back.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, we all have our talents and interests.
This one I call the Dance of Pan. She goes the next page, and it is just a bunch of naked people in a glade, and kind of like dancing around this figure that's seated in the middle that has like a goat head, and like all sorts of fruits and flowers and
Wicker
stuff
Man.
kind of laid at his feet, and he's got this like a huge dick, and they're just
Oh.
kind of
Huge phallus.
dancing around. It's just like major phallus that's just like
Dancing
he's just
around the
like,
maypole,
he's
if
like,
you will.
here it is,
Oh.
baby. And they're dancing around that, and everybody's naked. It's, somebody walks by, the ticket guy walks by and is like, ugh. Like if one of those, somebody here saw this, like half the place would probably faint because it's the Victorian era. But yeah, it's quite scandalous. It's all there to see. Yeah.
Lovely.
I think so.
Do you have any hidden talents, Ronaldo? Riley with his music, Rosalie with his art, with her art.
He looks at you at that question, and he thinks for a moment.
Ronaldo can draw
says-
wonderfully, as a matter of fact. I'm sorry,
He
I didn't
kind
mean
of
to
looks
speak
at
for
you and
dear.
he says, he says, I've been here a long time, and
The
I've
talent
dabbled
and
in
of
many
itself.
different things. So
Honestly, being here a long time is a talent in and of itself.
Your talent old. Didn't die yet.
I mean, I
This
don't
is
know when
Ronaldo's.
people died in like the 1800s. I imagine it was
About
like
the
what?
same. Infant mortality knocked the the kind of the average death of age off a lot because they have very high
Yeah, if you
infant
didn't
mortality
die
rates.
from plague
Yeah.
or infant mortality,
you
you're
like,
probably going to live.
60s, 60s or 70s. Yeah.
It's close.
he
It's
looks at you
close.
and he says, dogs seem to like me all right.
You're being much too modest, dear. She pulls something out of her satchel, which is like folded, very well folded, but high quality paper, and she opens it up, and it's a sketch of a butterfly.
Oh, is it the one that I drew?
Yep.
Oh, shit, dude.
And she goes, Ronaldo did this and gave it to me.
He looks at you and he is a little bit blown away that you have that on you. He says, I Did not expect this, if I'm being honest.
Oh, well, I never leave home without everything I value because I don't have much that I do. And she just kind of folds it and sticks it back in her satchel.
He smiles and just goes quiet.
Oh, they're having a moment.
Yes.
Right.
But
You
yeah.
make your layover. Chugga onward to the next town. There's plenty of time for more small talk and whatnot. If anybody else has any other topics on the next leg of their journey.
I'm just going to give out some chocolate coins to the kids.
Do you pull it out from behind their ear?
From behind what?
Their ear.
Ooh,
And subsequently
sure,
cut their
there you
ear
go.
off.
Yeah.
I certainly hope not. If any accidents happen, I will stop.
It's too late.
Any
You've
more
already-
accidents?
You've got his nose. You've got his nose.
Or just you give it to a kid
Blood.
with an allergy and he just like blows up and dies right there.
I just need to stop.
It's actually a
altogether.
real metal coin.
No, you can do an easy little coin sleight of hand
Yeah.
with the kids. They are delighted. The mother's somewhat less delighted when she notices Rosalie's disturbing painting, and she sort of like mother hen wings her children further into their bench.
Yeah, Rosalie makes absolutely no effort to hide what she's drawing.
People are, there's like one guy who's walked by like 4 times. It's just like,
It's like,
God damn it.
all right, you make your layover and go on the next leg of your journey, departing in the small town of Annonsbury.
I would just said, we don't have to role play this, but Rosalie would have just said, or we could if you want to, probably we're going to have to find lodging when we get there.
Yes.
It's a small town. It's an inn. An inn is a great place to find information. We should see what we can find from the people there when we get there too. Gossip.
That's an excellent idea.
Gossip.
Ronaldo is going to say that I'm assuming it's a small town. We could walk the
Probably.
town in probably short order, Amber.
Yeah.
Gloucester. Yeah. Well, Annonsbury. Annonsbury is a town. Brancombe is like a village. It's like a hamlet.
Yeah, we could walk Brancombe easily.
Okay.
Yeah, Brancombe is not on the map that you have back at the Rose House. You've got like a big, relatively detailed map. Brancombe is not on it. Annonsbury is.
Gotcha.
That small.
It's small.
Huh, I keep adding an S to Brancombe. It's Brancombe, not Branscombe.
Brancombe. Yep.
Towns.
I was gonna say though, we were we set the contact said that he would house us.
Oh,
Yes, he did.
Edgar Longby said he would house us.
Yes.
Okay.
But I do believe, and this small little village may not even have a place for us to stay otherwise. But in my travels, at least, maybe Ronaldo, you can vouch for this too. Everywhere has a place you can go for a drink.
That is where we need to go.
That is true. All right. So it is, the sun is setting as you pull into Annonsbury. The train whistle goes off, and yes, like 3 people get off the train at Annonsbury in addition to you. It is not a popular destination. I believe it is Bristol. That is the next stop afterward. That seems to be where most people are heading. But you depart the train at the little tiny roadside train stop in Annonsbury. And there is there's like a family waiting for a couple of the people departing. Just they're dressed in very modest clothes and drab colors. They go over and like embrace their loved one. And there is also a man waiting there. He is kind of unassuming stature, but is slim. He's wearing wire-framed glasses. He has light hair, and he is wearing a priest's collar.
I take it that might be.
How old does this guy look?
He looks to be maybe in his mid-30s.
Okay.
Well, I take it you might be waiting for us. Edgar Longby?
Oh, yes. He walks forward and offers his hand to you all. I got the letter from Oswald just this morning. I figured I'd wait at the train station in case you came in. I have a carriage. You are his colleagues. I understand he couldn't make it.
Yes, he sends his regards. We're here to kind of help you with the problem you have at hand.
I very much appreciate it. It's quite a situation. We'll talk more in the coach, but thank you all for coming out, especially in such a short and timely notice. And his brow is just very pinched. He looks tired and just worried. He immediately goes and offers to carry bags for the ladies.
Oh, nope, that's quite all right. I can manage my own, thank you.
It's like,
Rosalie just has a satchel, so it's... Oh no, it's no problem.
I have no bags.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, well,
I have so much stuff. I have 2 bags.
Coach is right this way. And you can see the coach just parked off. It's got 2. They look like just kind of workhorses. They are probably as comfortable pulling the coach as they are pulling a plow. Nothing fancy. And he walks ahead and opens the coach doors for you all.
Oh, thank you.
Does June do well around other animals?
Yep.
Yeah.
She's very even keeled. Doesn't go after other animals or anything. She's not particularly nervous around horses. She's one of the chillest dogs that anybody has ever seen.
Got it.
So question. As we're coming up to this location, do we feel it start getting colder or is there snow on the ground, being that it's supposed to be?
Nope. Temperature seems normal in Annensbury. Weather seems fine.
Okay.
Still summer.
Edgar, how often does the train pass through Annensbury?
Once a day. Or twice, rather, here and back and forth from Bristol. I think it's Bristol. Yes, Bristol. And he's like, so it'll be easy enough to depart if you are called away for any emergencies and whatnot. Mail comes in daily. Forgive me, I'm Edgar. You can call me Edgar.
Ronaldo.
Eleanor, but you may call me Nora.
Rosalie.
With pleasure. Rosalie.
And I'm Riley.
Riley. Right.
Oh, and this is June. And I give June a pet.
Oh, he smiles and he's like, is she friendly towards strangers?
Yes.
He kind of reaches his hand out to let her sniff, and she gives like a little cursory sniff and then gives her a little scratch. And he's like, well,
except Riley bites his dick off.
Oh my God. That's an intense opposite. Okay.
He's like, I have 3 small guest rooms prepared at the vicarage. You're very welcome to stay with me. There's also a few rooms available at the Shepherd's Rest, the local inn in Brancombe, wherever you're most comfortable. Again, really, really appreciate it. This is a really trying time for the community. It's a very close and tight community. There's a lot of love, but also love turns to harsh feelings and brashness in times of grief.
Doesn't it always? So, what can you tell me about this young man who's in prison?
That would be Billy Winchcombe. Is a young lad, 18 years old. He was longtime sweethearts with Miss Thomas. They've been together for 3 years now. I think they were planning on getting married soon. He's a good lad. I really can't bring it. I really can't bring myself to believe that he would do something so terrible as the crimes he's been accused of.
And what exactly is? I know Miss Thomas is dead, but what exactly happened?
So the Mayfair was about a week and a half ago, and I only have, this is what I have heard from parishioners. I did not witness myself. But Billy was seen escorting another young lady at the Mayfair, and Daisy saw them, was very upset. She left the fair early, in a bit of a state, and she disappeared for 3 days. Sent out some searchers and whatnot. She wasn't found until 3 days later. Her body was found outside of a small cave in a terrible state.
What do you mean, a terrible state?
I did not see the body myself, but the men who found her, including her father, they'd never seen anything like it. It looked like she was savaged by a vicious animal. Not known anything larger than foxes in the Brancombe area. I wouldn't believe anyone in Brancombe to be capable of such savagery. Never mind Billy Winchcombe.
How is he taking it all?
He is in jail in Annonsbury.
Here in Annonsbury.
Yes, we do not have a jail in we don't have a jail in Brancombe. The inspector came on down once the murder was reported, and the body was taken away to the doctor at Annonsbury, and walked around, asked some questions, and took Billy in. He has not been out of the cell since.
Does he have a trial date set?
Not yet. The inspector seems pretty certain he has his man, so I imagine a trial date will be coming shortly. It has most of the people of Brancombe very on edge. It's like a powder keg waiting for a spark down there. I fear what will happen if tensions are not diffused. Billy's got a family, brothers, all good lads. They're very angry. And Mr. Thomas is understandably distraught. What with happened to his poor daughter and all.
And
seems like everybody in the village has an opinion. We've just not had a situation like this in all the years of my curatorship at the parish here.
And the girl that Billy was with, has anyone spoken with her?
Daisy is the victim. She's dead.
No. The girl that he was
escorted at the Mayfair.
Yes, the other girl. She has departed the city. She left after the Mayfair. Back to her own family's estate. She was just visiting for a short time. I did not have a chance to meet or speak with her myself. There are a lot of rumors, some suspecting that Billy may have been unfaithful, had other interests in neighboring towns and villages. I really can't speak to that other than it doesn't really seem in character for him.
Oh, perhaps Billy would have more information.
Where did the girl live?
She is from nearby village of insert village name here. She's from a village some 15 miles away.
Villagingham.
She's from Foster.
Foster, yeah.
You know what
she is
sense.
now from Foster.
Gloucester.
Gloucester.
Yeah. Fuck yes,
Yeah.
yes.
She's from the village of Foster, some 15 miles away.
Go ahead.
I am sure Billy would have some light to shed on the situation, but the inspector has not allowed him any visitors.
Has anything changed since your letter in the village and town?
There have been a few more cattle mutilations, sheep, at some other of the outlying farms in the Brancombe area. A traveler was evidently took a fall from the bridge. He's at a medical cottage in Annonsbury. Last I heard, fighting for his life. He's not a resident of the town, but people fall.
And
it's a little bit of a coincidence that people fall so severely when another murder has just taken place, but
And these animals, they look like they've been attacked by a large animal as well.
yes, everything I have heard indicates
So
they were
it
left in
just
similar
doesn't
states.
seem logical that, well, if someone shows up and it looks like they've been attacked by an animal and you arrest someone for the murder, but then there are more attacks on animals that are similar, it would seem that whatever beast is on the loose must have attacked poor Daisy rather than her boyfriend.
I and many villagers have had the same thoughts, Miss Rosalie. It would be very suspicious, especially considering the cattle mutilations occurred after Daisy's death, and it seems unlikely Billy would be able to copy such vicious maulings to hide his crimes, seeing as how they took place after the crimes.
Were there
Indeed.
any cattle that were hurt before Daisy's death?
Nothing.
No. And what have they done with the bodies of the cattle that have been injured?
You know, I am not certain on that. Farmers sometimes burn dead cattle, especially if disease is a possibility. If the state is any indication, I don't think they would have been butchered, but I can't say for certain.
Well, we'll get there and talk to people and maybe even get in to talk to Billy. That would be helpful. I know nobody's been allowed to see them, but perhaps we can persuade the jailer to allow us to see him.
Yeah, it would be helpful, I think, to talk to the doctor who got her body as well.
In small towns, word travels quickly. We should use this anonymity to our advantage.
Do you know of anyone? Do you know who the folks were who found Daisy? Do you know who?
Yes, that would have been her father, Fred,
Oh,
and two of his farmhands, Rob and Edwin.
oh,
They were the unfortunate lads who made the discovery.
Rob and Edwin?
Mm-hmm.
Is the gentleman who took the fall, is he conscious? Is he speaking?
I've not had a chance to follow up on his state in a couple days, but last I knew, he was unconscious. He was not speaking. He'd taken quite a severe injury to his head.
Perhaps I will pay a visit to him.
Yes, it sounds like we should come back to Annisbury tomorrow, maybe even to
maybe
figure
spend
things
the
out
night. Spend the night in Brancombe. Hit the tavern to maybe get the local gossip. Come into Annisbury tomorrow.
Perhaps. I guess what time is it right now? Is it late or?
It's like 7 or so, like sun is setting. People are having dinner.
Ronaldo looks at the rest of you and he says, we'll only have this opportunity here in Annisbury one time. Once we make it to Brancombe, we will be strangers, and that may change the way people will interact with us and what information they'll share. Maybe we should capitalize on this evening before heading into town.
Sure, that's fine too.
Yes,
So
I'm happy to wait with the coach.
Sure, I'm following what you're saying.
He's saying,
Troy.
we're in Annisbury right now. He's saying to go and
follow
talk
up on
to
the
folks
leads here
in Annisbury now before getting to Brancombe, and then
do Brancombe the more. Okay, whatever. Yeah. We might not be able to get into the prison and stuff at 7 o'clock at night, or try to, but like
we can check. We can check.
I'm not even using it.
Do they have a inn here as well? I'm assuming Annisbury is a larger village.
Yes,
or bigger than
has.
They probably do, but we're all poor.
Yeah, and Annisbury has like 3 or 4 inns probably.
Okay.
It's got a couple more taverns on top of that.
Right.
Although I guess Ronaldo is used to, maybe even Rosalie is like used to figuring shit out on the street. It's like summer out, so
should we
not where we're going?
Should we divide and conquer to get more information while we still have a little bit of light?
Well, who do we want to talk to here? The officer,
Billy,
the doctor,
the officer, the doctor, and the patient is here as well, is in Anusbury. So the doctor probably has both the patient as well. Presumably, I don't know.
I'm certainly willing to go try to get in to see Billy. Maybe we can go 2 and 2.
Very well.
Sure. Edgar turns the coach around and kind of parks it off of just a little street that doesn't have a lot of clutter or anything on it. He's like, if there's anything I could do to help, I'm happy to come with you. If you think my presence will be of assistance, or I will wait with the coach.
Help us get in to see Billy.
I would suggest that he goes with probably the officer.
I would not describe my relationship as warm or friendly with the inspector, but it's not adversarial either. He does know me.
Are you more friendly with the doctor?
A bit. I would say I'm a bit more familiar with the doctor. Yes.
And what is the inspector's name?
Names. The inspector is
Gadget.
Inspector Robert. Where is your last name?
Yes, just Robert.
Just Robert.
And he's a painter on the side.
Not that Robert.
Bobby Robert.
Robert Robertson.
Yeah.
It is
The fuck was
Robert
Robert's last name?
Wrong person. I've got little sidebars for everybody. Yes, it is Inspector Robert Banks. He is the inspector who has led the investigation into Daisy's murder and ordered the arrest of Billy Brancombe.
Any relation to Agent Cody Banks?
Oh, I love those movies.
None known. And the local doctor in Annensbury is Dr. Cuthbert Mellors.
Cuthbert Mellors. Cuthbert Mellors.
Perhaps Riley and I can head to the hospital to see if
I
we
would
can
prefer to see the inspector. I've spent more than enough time with doctors.
Sure. I will head towards speaking with the Inspector Banks as well.
And Edgar, you can travel with us if you would like, if you feel your presence may be of assistance.
He hesitates just a moment, and you can tell he's looking at how all of the men are going off on one quest, leaving all of the women on the other, but he has the grace to not question it. He's hesitates for a moment, I should offer my assistance to the ladies. Then he's like, and he's
I assure you they're far more capable than we are.
Very well. It's the Blades in the Dark effect.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Please come with us. We are done.
You're going to be choking on a potato, fucking dying. The doctor's over here giving you the Heimlich because you've swallowed a whole sweet potato.
Still wrapped in aluminum foil.
He nods and he says, of course, I'm happy to accompany you. And then he turns to Nora and Rosalie, and he says, the jail is that building just down there, and we are headed to that cottage over there. It's not really a hospital in Edinburgh, but the doctor has some rooms set aside for a medical ward.
Wonderful.
If
Thank you.
need anything, we will be down there.
Thank you, Edgar.
And we can meet back at
the train station, I think.
The coach.
The coach?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Fuck, I'm choking on spit. Give me this, guys.
Quick, grab an English biscuit to soak all of this.
The sweet potato.
All of the spit out of your mouth.
The fucking sweet potato.
You literally just talk about that scene and you start coughing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Fuck.
I'm surprised, Rosalie, that you didn't want to go here or see the body.
In due time. I would, well, let's just say I've spent a lot of time with doctors.
How big?
Not as much with the police.
Who wants to go first, scene-wise?
How vague?
You good, Jess? I'm fine with going.
Going first? Okay, sure.
Rock. All right.
Oh yeah, brother.
I know you usually don't, Jess.
I know.
You're rolling with Christian now. This is how I roll. Head first.
Okay.
So my plan here is, look, he's a man of some importance in a small little town, so we just need to charm his little ego, and we'll get what we want.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Oh,
Like Nora
Unless you
has
have-
never appealed to
unless
the
you have
ego of somebody.
any
She's a
other
fucking magician.
ideas.
That's
I know.
all they do.
I know.
Nora, for no reason at all, where have you left your luggage?
Oh, I have it. Like I've left my large bag in the carriage, and I've taken my small satchel with me.
All right.
Yes.
First rule
I
of being
have the
poor:
only-
Don't
never
leave your
have
stuff
anything worth stealing.
stealing.
I have the only thing I own, which is everything I own is in my satchel. So that's easy.
Except for the biscuits and scones that are in your pockets.
Correct. Very deep pockets on these Victorian dresses.
You just leave a trail of crumbs in your wake.
Yep.
We're
That's how
gonna
I
get
know to get
kidnapped
home.
and just leave crumbs for everyone to follow actual crumbs. All right. The Annensbury Police Station is a small building close to the center of the town. The post office is on one side and there's a small bank on the other. All the buildings are made out of a kind of sun-bleached sandstone that is weathered to a pale gray. You approach the police station. The front door is it's actually propped open right now. It's summer and they're getting some of the cool night air in there. So you enter the station and you come into like just a little kind of reception room. There is an officer sitting at a wooden counter who looks up as you enter and he says, good evening, ladies. What can I do for you?
Good evening. My name is Rosalie. This is my associate Nora, and we are journalists. And we've heard of.
As soon as you say journalist,
Mhm.
his face gets tight.
We've heard of quite an extraordinary story here. We're wondering if you could help us.
What is your question exactly?
We've heard of what happened in the town, in Brancombe, and we would like to, write a story of this horrible murder and the brave police officers who solved the investigation. Were you the investigating officer?
He says, I was not, and that investigation is still open. We are not taking any questions. We are not doing any interviews.
Oh, that's quite a shame. Surely we've come quite a long way. I surely you could help us. I mean, it's quite a long, hard train ride up here, and well, I'd hate to return home empty-handed.
You can go ahead and make a manipulation test. This manipulation test is challenging. You need more than one success.
So I need two, right? Okay.
Yes.
I guess I will. I don't know if I'm much help right now, really, actually.
You're like,
I only got one. I only got one. Fuck.
Just
All right.
adjusts bosom.
Yeah. Jess is like,
It's an
no,
extra
I only got
dice.
one. I only got one.
will just smile
as you're talking,
prettily.
you get the distinct impression, and Eleanor, you too, especially because you are more observing this conversation, that the journalist angle was the wrong angle.
Damn.
Yep. Was the wrong angle. He's like, well, I'm sorry to inform you and sorry you've wasted a trip, but there won't be any interviews or questions until the case is further along or resolved. There are a
Damn it,
couple
Rosalie.
inns. I recommend the fucking inn name.
So English names
The
all have like
White
weird names. So it could be like
White
it could be
Tower.
like the duck and like the fucking duck and broom inn. They all have like those weird names.
The
So,
duck.
The monkey
yes.
duck.
Yes, perfect. We'll take it. Love it, Troy.
the muddy duck.
The mucky duck.
The Mucky Duck.
Mucky
It is
duck.
a great
Person.
British restaurant in Iowa, actually.
Nice.
He says, I recommend the Mucky Duck Inn. It's a pretty safe establishment. The proprietor's a good man. You can get some rest and lodging there, and train will be by in the morning.
And
I'm
what is your
sorry.
name,
What is,
officer?
yes. What is your name?
I'm Sergeant Jack Worrell.
Sergeant Jack. And you just always do everything you're told all the time, Sergeant Jack?
Rosalie.
Jesus Christ.
Rosalie.
And he's like, well, sometimes they do the telling for officers who don't have sergeant in front of their names, and sometimes they do the listening for officers that have inspector or captain in front of their names. It's how chain of command generally works. Do be sure to stop by if there are any crimes to be reported, but well, it's getting dark and I think you best be on your way.
Well, I wouldn't want anything to happen to us.
Rosalie. Sergeant
Correct.
World. Sergeant World, please.
Annensbury is a safe town.
Ish.
I mean,
Was
no,
before I got here.
it is a safe town with all of the police work that is here. Sergeant World, please. I apologize for my colleague, but that was a lie. We're not journalists here.
Oh God, what is happening?
Miss
Nora, Eleanor.
Miss Eleanor, you are not the first journalists to have caught wind of the events in Brancombe and come sniffing around here. You would not be the first journalists to then lie about being journalists after being denied an interview.
Very well.
Do you suggest you move along for the evening? Get some lodging. Have a good night. I will let the inspector know you stopped by.
Yes, if you could.
And he kind of scribbles down Eleanor on a piece of paper.
We will head out then.
What do you think the chances are that the hospital is more receptive to dying sick people than the jail is to journalists?
I really wish you would run that by me before we both walked into this establishment.
We have freedom of press in this country. I don't understand.
Yes, but it should have failed. Then now both of us couldn't go in here.
Like I could have said I'd been a juggler. Here to juggle for people on death row.
Maybe you could magic us inside.
I really wish you.
Maybe you could magic us.
In general, though, it would be nice to run a plan by me before you just bring it out of the blue.
I will keep that in mind.
Caught me by surprise.
Did you have a plan?
Yes, I was going to just talk to him as a normal person.
That's a ridiculous plan. That would have never worked.
Well, this one certainly didn't.
Yes, but mine had a better chance.
We'll agree to disagree, I'm afraid. One of them has actually been proven wrong.
Fair, Nora. I apologize. I'm just used to mostly doing things on my own. So, in the future, I will consider your input.
Thank you.
You did, however, glean useful information that the Mucky Duck is where people go to get murdered and robbed.
That one review of that parking lot that we should have listened to. Well, if you want your vehicle to be vandalized and stolen, this is the place to do it.
Did that really happen to you guys?
Yeah. It is a shame, though. I mean, it would have been nice to talk to Billy, or actually learn more of who they've talked to thus far and what information they have.
Sounds like they're clamped down pretty tight. But we do have a lead for this restaurant. Maybe we can find some loose tongues there.
Perhaps.
The man will take a while going to find the doctor. Yeah.
Is 18 the legal age in London at this time period, or would the parents be involved in his incarceration process?
I was like, that's a weird question to be asked.
Older teens, like 16, 17, 18, they're youths, like the parents are still looking after them and stuff. A lot of them do have like jobs. Depending on their social class, they may be married. But it's similar. I don't know if there was like a legal age of majority established at this time or not.
No idea.
Well, I'm only curious for they said no one was able to talk to Billy. I'm wondering if the parents would be an exception to that.
No, there's probably not any sort of a legal rights at Billy's age to have a parent present, that sort of barrister type thing. The inspector is just
old enough,
away from his
so
suspect.
We have Cernibus, who is English, which makes him much more of an expert than any of us, who says the age of majority is 21.
Right now, or back in
he said was.
He says was, so I'm assuming that would be back younger.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Wow.
Shit. All right, good to know. Just the same though, you would not suspect that this is if there were a legal loophole, you would need to get a barrister to excise it. This is just the inspector throwing his weight around in a small town sort of thing.
Right. Good to know though. Thanks, Sonobus.
Thank you. Gentlemen, you're still walking to the doctor's house when the ladies come out of the fucking
You literally see us walk in and walk right out.
They're just bickering.
Classic. You screwed everything up, Jess.
Me?
Well, it seems that went well.
Let's focus on the task at hand, Riley. I'm sure we'll get some information.
Hopefully we have more success with the doctor.
Edgar leads the way and gives a knock on the front door. After a moment, a young woman answers the door. She's wearing like a nurse's uniform. And she's like, I actually don't know the title of a church curate. Would it be Father? Probably not.
Daddy.
Past.
Oh, Daddy. Fuck. I hate it. Ugh.
Maybe just curator.
Curate.
Curate, yeah, just curate.
Curate.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna go with that. I don't know what the actual like address for a curate in a small parish would be. But he's not a vicar. He's just
vicar
a
is
curate.
different, right? Yeah, that's right.
He's like a step below.
Are you
the
talking
vicar.
about Edgar?
Yeah.
Edgar signed his letter curate of Parish Brancombe.
Yeah, I just don't know if there's like a priest
a
is
term of
called
address.
father.
Yeah.
Like
It probably is
if
just
there's a
curate.
separate term of address or if it's just curate.
Oh, just
Nah,
just
church
curate.
stuff. She opens it and she says, curate, how can I help you? Is there emergency? Should I fetch the doctor? And Edgar says, no, that won't be necessary. I'm just here with some friends. We wanted to follow up on the traveler that had taken a tumble over the bridge. And she says, it's a little bit late, curate. And he says, I know. I was just I was in town at the train station picking up my colleagues here, and well, they're going to help do some investigating around the town. And thought it might be prudent to check in on the traveler. She just sort of looks at you all and she's like, perhaps think you'd be better off coming back in the morning, and the doctor might be a little more available. And you can tell that she's going to need a little more persuading if you are to get in tonight or a different angle. Edgar is stammering a little bit. He's being very polite. And
Riley,
he's already got the scent that she is stronger than him. And she's exercising authority.
what do you have for your manipulation?
I only have my attribute, which is a 4.
Okay. So I've got 7.
Okay.
Hot damn.
I figured Ronaldo would be a better talky to person than Riley would be. I'm more of the observer, trying to figure stuff out and put pieces together type of individual.
I kind of at that point I'll speak up and I'll say, Miss, we truly mean to be no bother. I am sure that the doctor and yourself are very busy with your patients. We simply by being able to perhaps even just observe they used the word traveler, right?
Mm-hmm.
The traveler that had the tragic accident could be helpful. I do have a small degree of medical training for my travels. And I promise we would be just a couple of flies on the wall. And besides, June here seems to bring company to those that are in distress. And I kind of give June a pat.
June has her kind of normal, just sort of casual, chill demeanor is a little bit different right now. She's not on edge, but she is alert. Her ears are forward, and she's like looking into the house.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and make a manipulation test.
This obvious hobo shows up saying he has medical training.
I mean, he's wearing clothes that Hawkins gave him, so.
And I'm clean shaven.
Fair. And he's got a shave and a good night's rest.
And I didn't lie. I survived for 54 years. That means I have medical training.
That is true. That is true.
You're like, have you tried putting potato on it?
What is it to
aid?
I think.
Jess, this is why we.
I only remember the year 0 rules for aiding as it pertains to mutant.
It's okay.
That
I
still
got
has
2
a plus
sixes.
10 manipulation.
Well, hot damn, 2 6s will do.
Yes.
Well,
oh shit! I should have you do it.
The Riley would say
6
as well. It's just like
Riley
I was
also
not.
adjusts his
I was not
bosom.
aiding. I specifically said I wasn't aiding. I was like, I'm not helpful in this situation.
He would add in that and maybe a fresh pair of eyes, and a fresh pair of eyes never hurt to see if to overcome some struggles.
She takes a moment longer and kind of fixes each of you for a few moments with her discerning stare, and then she kind of looks at the dog again. She smiles a little bit and she says, I will let the doctor know that you are here and see if he is up to escorting you to the patient.
Thank you, Miss
Jane.
Jane. Thank you, Jane.
Good job, guys.
Way not to
She
fuck up, guys.
shuts the door for a moment and she heads inside. June has her ears perked up again. She sort of does a little kind of shifting of weight from one part to the other. She's not exactly pacing, but she looks like she wants to go in.
Also, Cernibus is also coming in clutch with us for us again. Curates are addressed as reverends.
Reverend. Thank you so much. Oh my God.
Son.
You are a fountain of
Yes.
knowledge. I'll be like, would anybody like to make a learning test to just consult what was the name again?
Cernibus.
Cernibus.
With a successful learning test, you may ask Cernibus 3 questions.
Yes. I love it.
Reverend, perfect. I'll write that down. Thank you. She's gone about 5 minutes, and when she returns, who you assume is the doctor, is with her. She opens the door again, and she's this is scrolling through NPCs.
Dr.
Miller's. This is
Dr. Acula?
Dr. Acula. Shit, that was from the first. This is she's like this is Dr. Miller's.
Mellors.
Mellors.
Wait a minute. Wasn't the other guy's name Mellor?
This is the same doctor. Dr.
This is the doctor that he had talked about.
Yep.
The doctor is he is a older gentleman. He's probably in his 50s, bald on the top, well-groomed beard and mustache, some glasses on a sharp nose. Outfit is well put together. He's not wearing any sort of scrubs or coveralls at this time. He was probably taking dinner or winding down for the evening. But he kind of looks at each of you and then he looks at Edgar and he's like, Reverend, I suppose can spare a few minutes if you'd like to see the traveler. He's not awoken at all yet. His condition seems about the same. I was wondering when you'd be checking up on him. And he kind of looks at you, Riley, and you, Ronaldo, for an introduction.
Oh, Dr. Miller, pleased to meet you. My name is Ronaldo Colombo. And this is my traveling companion, Riley O'Day.
I will, if like handshakes are being offered, stretch out for a handshake.
He doesn't offer to shake. He just kind of gives you a nod. Too
That
many
is fine.
germs.
Yeah, no. If it was being offered, that's why I had said if not the case, but yeah, just curt nod.
And this is my other companion, June.
He kind of eyes the dog and he says, the animal should wait outside. We do have sensitive patients in residence.
Very well, you are the doctor.
And then Edgar says, these are colleagues of my associate from Cambridge. They're just visiting for a short while, but they have a little expertise in medicine, he says, looking at you. And Meller's just kind of clears his throat a little bit, like, we'll see. You can tell this. He's like, okay, let's see about that.
I give him the whole, I'm sure your medical expertise far exceeds mine, but I have picked up a thing or two from traveling.
And he's like, School of Hard Knocks, no doubt.
Ronaldo.
But he turns and leads you into the front of the building. There's like a little, almost like desk area, nurses station type thing, and then it's just rooms. You can tell that this building was not designed to be a hospital. It is sort of more of a residential building that has been converted and added on to here and there in order to house sick folk. But he leads you down a hallway, takes a couple turns to what was once a bedroom and is now a medical bedroom. And he says, as I said, the traveler is not awakened at all. No one's come forward with any relation or knowing him, but he's got some swelling inside of his skull, no doubt, that is keeping him in his state. But he opens the door and you can see lying in the sick bed, head is all bandaged up. His eyes are bandaged too. There's a man somewhere in the 30s. It's a little bit hard to tell with his eyes covered and whatnot. He's very pale, got a kind of a waxy-ish look to his skin right now. He's like in a touch and go sort of situation. He's breathing mostly smoothly, but his pallor and his skin tone and stuff don't look great. It's clear he's been unconscious for a few days. They're changing him and whatnot and keeping him, as clean as can be, but he's already got kind of a sunken look to his features and whatnot.
Doctor, did this gentleman have any personal effects on him that were found at the scene of the accident?
He was pulled out of the water, so he had a few effects in his pockets, but if he were traveling with a pack or anything, it was no doubt lost to the river. He had a pocket watch ruined in the water, a small knife, and handkerchief. Nothing really of note in his pockets that remained.
Did the gentleman have any sort of markings or birthmarks or anything like that were particular that you found during your medical assessment?
A few moles, a couple scars, all old, probably incidental, some tool marks on the hands. It might have been a craftsman of some sort. Nothing more distinct than that, though. He goes over and he starts checking the patient. He touches his forehead, kind of grabs his stethoscope and I don't know if stethoscopes were invented yet. He's got a stethoscope, listens to the patient's heart, right? Yeah. That seems like an old medical device.
Doctor, my counterpart here may have some additional questions. May I inspect the patient without touching him?
I might be more of assistance if I knew exactly what you were looking for.
Sometimes things come up as I'm looking, if that makes sense.
You can approach.
Thank you. Riley, you're doing the talking now, bud.
All right. Now just so that I can't aware, this bridge was between Annensbury and Brancombe.
This bridge is, let me see if it's on my map because the text does not specify.
I guess it would also be worth note who found him in the water.
This bridge, are you marked? Do. The bridge is not marked. The bridge is actually, I'm going to say that it is upriver from Brancombe. So it's kind of to the north east of Brancombe, along the Annan River. So he was found by villagers from Brancombe, and he was brought into Annensbury when his injuries were, too advanced for anybody local to deal with. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you already? Sorry, I was looking at skills while you were kind of talking. Did you already ask about who found him?
Amber just said some villagers had found him.
Yeah,
just some local farmers.
Just some local farm.
I had just asked about his personal effects.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he said he had a pocket watch, a handkerchief, and the pocket watch was broken. And then he had a knife as well. So maybe the make or style might tell you something about where he's from or what his fancy was, but
these farmers, and I also look back at Edgar. When was he the traveler brought in? Was this about the same time that people were out looking for poor Miss Thomas? I looked at Edgar.
This was a few days after her body was found.
Okay.
Can I make Amber a observation roll as I'm looking over the patient?
Absolutely.
So Ronaldo is looking at this as somebody from the school of hard knocks. So, he is, I know the doctor mentioned like his hands, right? His hands are tool marks and stuff like that. He's trying to get an idea of maybe who this person was, what they did based on little kind of minutia like that. He's not so much inspecting the wounds because they're all wrapped and stuff. And he said he wouldn't touch him. So,
yeah, I will say that observation is not the right skill per se, because according to the game book, the book, because I was looking at the.
Oh, that's right. There's one that's for
so vigilance. Yeah. Vigilance is like scanning things in area. Observation is like sense motive-ish.
Yeah.
There's like 3 different types of things that are kind of along the same line. Observation is more of like the sense motive. First line, when talking to another person or spending time in her presence, you can observe to understand what she's thinking, feeling, or planning.
Okay.
Vigilance is more of
area.
Your spot check. Your specifically the first one it says is to find someone who's stealthing up to you. Furthermore, you can interpret situations you are monitoring.
Okay.
So on and so forth. And then there is investigation, which is more of like your search check.
Okay.
And that would be probably what you would like to use.
I would say investigation or observation will work in this situation, because observation is more social and stuff though, but part of social interactions and stuff is making reads on people's bodies and things that give them tells like that. So I'll let you choose in this particular case.
Okay. In that case, I'll stick with observation just because I get more dice. So yep. I will roll 6 dice. I got no successes.
So you can push if you would like, but
I will
pushing,
push.
What pushing means you take a mental.
You will take a mental condition.
Mental condition automatically, and you get to reroll all dice that are not 6s.
So that's above the skills. There's conditions you would take. Yep. You get to choose: angry, frightened, hopeless.
These are all obviously extreme names for what it is. As you get more conditions, they all become more extreme, so to think. So like your first condition taken from pushing in a relatively safe situation. If you take hopeless, it does not mean you are on the floor and all hope at life has gone. You're just feeling grim, about the situation.
Right. I will take frightened.
When you take a condition in your future rolls, you'll get less dice.
Until you recover the condition. Correct.
Okay. Sounds good.
And once per mystery, you can interact with your
memento?
Your memento.
Yes.
If you can describe in a role-playing way how interacting with the memento helps you in some way, ground yourself, recover mentally in some way, you can recover a condition from doing that once in one scene per investigation.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll push. I reroll all failed dice, correct?
Correct.
I have 1 success.
One success. All right. You're looking at the gentleman here, and a couple things that you know is he's been laying here for a few days, so he's definitely lost some weight and he's dehydrated and whatnot. He doesn't have a particularly robust build though, so you would not think that he is a laborer of any particular sort. Like this is not he's not a farmer or like a dockhand or anything like that. You do note the scars on his hands, as the doctor had mentioned. They're small scars mostly, but they are distinct. Maybe from using something like woodworking or whittling tools. Might be more consistent, and you can visibly see a couple calluses like on the insides of his index fingers and the pads of his fingers here and there. So kind of a small tools trade might be more consistent with what he has done. He's in his probably mid-30s. Looks a little bit more haggard here. Could be a little younger if he were in better shape. A thing you do notice is, in addition to the scars on his hands, the tips of his fingers look a little like angry, sort of. They're kind of bright pink.
Like infected almost, or
not infected, like maybe very slight frostbite or something would be on your mind, especially from the letter there. They've been aggravated. They're not turning black or anything. He's not going to lose them, but they're a little angry. The tips of his fingers, that stands out to you a little.
How about his toes?
His feet are covered by the blanket.
Okay. I do think as I have an opportunity, if one comes up as Riley is talking with the doctor and asking questions, I am going to pull out my Hag's Eye and I'm going to do a quick cursory scan of him as well. And I am going to touch the patient's hand when no one is looking. I'm going to try my best to simply touch his hand.
The doctor grimaces when you pull out the rock. It's just like, he is not amused by that, but he doesn't say anything if you're just looking around. That does get his attention though, and he is watching you kind of closely. You do think that he will notice you touching the hand. If you're touching the hand very quickly though, he may or may not say anything about it.
I think what I'll do in that case is if I think I can't get away with it without being observed, I will maybe in Italian I'll recite like a prayer, a proper prayer. And then as I finish, I'll kind of do whatever, the appropriate gesture is and just touch his hand gently.
The appropriate gesture in Italian is like this.
Yeah. Spaghetti sauce gesture. Touch his hand.
Bolognese. Yeah.
Edgar follows up with some appropriate religious gestures. I do not know if he is a Catholic or not.
No,
that's okay.
Anglican. They would be Anglican. So,
Anglican, okay. I was like, I know it is Christian. They would do the sign of cross.
I would say probably, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Requiescat in pace. Then Assassin's Creed him to death.
Yeah.
Doctor says, well, he's
he's
watching you and he says his condition seems to be unchanged from what he was when I last made my rounds. If there's any other questions or anything I can help you with, I do think we should let the patient return to his rest.
I go like I'm going to say something and then I'd stop. And I say, you're doing good work here, doctor. Thank you for allowing us a moment of your time.
He gives you a nod.
And we didn't discern anything further from that interaction, right? Okay.
Nope.
Alrighty.
The doctor starts to walk from, or kind of gestures to exit the room and begins to walk with you.
Was there anyone else in the hospital?
There are several, what you would assume would be patient rooms. A couple of the doors are closed. A couple of the doors are open. You have not seen a physical person, though. It is possible there are people in the rooms that you just haven't seen, though. Just the one nurse for staff that you have noticed, though.
Okay. And I haven't heard any people either. No coughing or anything like that.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Riley, anything else you wanted to do, bud? Before we meet up with our companions at the wagon?
Just went to the wagon. Is that where you want to have gone, Jess? Just gone back to the wagon. We've just been standing
He's just pouting in the wagon. They're like, nah.
No, if you wanted to check out the local inn to see if there's any gossip there, I would suggest, however, this time we separate. But I think if you'd like to check out the inn,
style.
If you'd like to check out the inn, I am more than willing to talk to some folks as well.
Yeah, let's say we've done that. Just we don't have to role play. We could just roll to see if we can pick up some information. If that and have separated to do it, I'm okay with that. If that's cool, Amber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be, I believe,
probably investigation checks.
Probably investigation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, it's ranged combat. So anyway, I started blasting.
So one success.
Also one success.
Right. So while perusing the inns, you have the opportunity to get some dinner if you would like. Modest prices. You all have, even the brokest of you can afford like the bowl of brown or whatever they have just on pot.
Mm-hmm.
All of the people that you kind of managed to mingle with at your respective inns are local to Annonsbury. They are not from Brancombe. They do have some gossip about the murderer in jail, though. Becomes clear to you that they don't know Billy at all. None of them are speaking from a place of like, oh, he was a good lad, he was this or that. But like, I heard we have our very own like Ripper in jail, like countryside Ripper, just mutilating young women. Kind of scandalous things. And then a couple people like, oh man, I can't wait to see his legs kicking, sort of thing. Like, what a monster. I heard the girl was a sweet girl, that sort of thing. It is mostly just gossip and speculation, what you would say, though. You gather that Billy has been in jail for about 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. But like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. Daisy's body was found like 3 days after she disappeared. So,
wait, was he taken before her body was found?
No, he was taken after her body was found.
So if
that would have put her to death at about 2 weeks ago.
If I may, while doing this, they sound like pretty much like judge, jury, and executioner, and it's really just because they're like simple country folk and like something happened in their town. So I'm going to sow seeds of discord there and just be like, but don't you find it odd that he was arrested and now these animals are disappearing and this man apparently fell off a bridge and was injured, and he could be the murderer for all we know. He could have killed this girl. Nobody even knows who this man is.
Jumped from his guilt. Yeah.
I'm just going to like fuck with their heads as much as I'm going to try to get the rumor mill kind of like moving in like another direction just for fun.
Amazing. Go ahead and make a manipulation test.
I'm really good at this. So 1 success.
All right. I'm going to note that down. A few of the people you're chatting with kind of bite into it. And they're like, oh, like I never thought of that. Or they have like their own little bit of speculation to throw into. A few of the folks, like they'd heard about some cattle, like a cattle killed or two, but you kind of like play up the mutilation. And like, even though you haven't seen it gore of it, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize there were so many dead, and a few people like could be a wolf. And then they're like, no wolves in Annonsbury, like that sort of thing. And you're able to sort of play with that.
No one says anything about the weird winter that's out there.
They have not experienced it. Nobody says anything about it. If you bring it up, they're like, oh, I didn't hear anything about that. Yep. Nope. Okay. A little bit about the cattle killings. They seem to be aware of fewer than Edgar has indicated there has been, and not quite as aware of the kind of gruesomeness of the killings.
Makes sense.
Most of their speculation revolves Billy, how horrible the poor body of Daisy was found, him being some sort of ripper, that sort of thing. They don't seem to know anything about the winter, and they don't know like the extent of the cattle killings and whatnot.
Makes sense. Okay.
Some of the people in Annonsbury also, they speak a little bit poorly of the people of Brancombe. There's a degree of like pot calling the kettle black sort of thing. They're like, we're in Annonsbury, like we have a train stop, like those are ignorant yokel hill folks sort of thing. And there's a little bit of that going on here.
People being like, I'm from Warwick, not West Warwick.
Yes, exactly. Even though like most of the people here are farmers, there are a few that are tradesmen, but like they're not much, they're not that different actually, but they do.
So it's rural Iowa, basically, same population.
Yeah, population of rural Iowa. All right, so you do a little bit of a pot stirring there. Did you want to do anything in particular to Eleanor, or just gathering the sort of same
just talking
quality
to
of rumors?
Yeah.
Yep, and the rumors are pretty consistent at both establishments. Distinct lack of knowing anything about the frost. About the
we went to the same place. We're just separate. We just went to the same place.
You're just pretending not to know each other.
Yes,
okay,
correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Gotcha. Yep. So same sort of vibe. Pass a little bit of time there. How long are you staying? Are the gentlemen going to end up coming looking for you when you do not appear at the wagon, or are you going to meet them there in like a reasonable time?
I don't know.
I'm going to try to keep track of a reasonable. Actually, you know what? No. Rosalie's going to get caught up talking to people.
I imagine being there just for like a meal, so like an hour. I don't know how long the other folks took, but
All right. If there is no further questions,
Rosalie will have every intention of only being there an hour, and at some point look around and realize that Nora is gone, and be like, "Oh, I have to go," and then like she'll be late back to the carriage.
All right. Riley, if you had any further questions for the doctor, let me know as he's now walking you down the hallway.
Yep.
Same thing for you, Ronaldo. If not, so far your visit has only taken like 10, 15 minutes.
I don't think Riley has any more questions for the doctor, and more towards I guess it would be both Edgar and the doctor, because it's relating to the area. It's more of like the location of this bridge. And
did you guys ask the doctor about Daisy? Because Daisy also would have been, her body would also have been brought here.
Good point, Jess.
Oh yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly completely fucking forgot about that. So
Yep,
yeah.
Okay.
Doctor, or go ahead, Riley. You're doing the talking.
Nope. You have the better talky skills.
He's the suave, experienced.
Yeah. Riley's strictly an observer, like
pretty much.
Maybe Riley, you can see if you can look over his belongings, if possible, if the doctor's willing to do that.
That's what I was kind of I was gonna say, but I remembered that like we found out what it was. But if the doctor will allow me, if I could look over the traveler's belongings to kind of see where he's been come from,
get a gauge of his style or whatever, you know.
You can tell that the visit is wearing on the doctor a little bit, but he takes kind of a breath and he's like, it's just a few items in my office. And he kind of changes route to his office with you all.
Can I talk to the nurse at all about the body of the woman that was brought in, Daisy?
Yeah, if you want to stay behind, the nurse is back at the reception area, and the doctor is walking with Riley toward his office. You could probably stay behind, and now would be a moment where he wouldn't think much of it.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I will put on my very most sincere, because I am sincere, Nurse Jane. I understand that one of the locals from, what was it, Brunstead?
Brancombe.
Sorry, Brancombe. A young girl by the name of Daisy was found dead. It's the talk of the town. Were you there when her body was brought in?
I was working. I did not have a chance to see the body. From what I understand, it was in quite a state, and the doctor wanted to preserve as much of the girl's dignity as could be. He did the examination himself.
And he had nobody assist him with the examination?
No, I'm the only nurse on staff. There's like a local midwife who sometimes helps if we have like a sickness going around, but I've never assisted with any sort of autopsies. Mostly just tend to the sick. Was she a friend of yours? Were you a friend of the family?
I can't say I've had that pleasure. But the events surrounding her death are related to the reason why we're here. We hope to find some answers, and in doing so, again, restore some dignity to Daisy and her family.
I wish I could be of more help, but I didn't really see anything.
Did the doctor seem shaken at all after the autopsy?
He's well, the doctor's pretty upset about it all. More so that from what I understand, the inspector seems to be ignoring his advice. The doctor is of the opinion it was an animal. And I believe a boy is still in jail for the crime, so that's not been going well. She laughs. Doctor's gone over to the police station a few times these past couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Very well. Well, Nurse Jane, thank you very much for the information. Perhaps I'll talk to the doctor about it here in just a couple moments.
Of course.
I'll wait for the doctor to come back, and as we're walking out, I'll kind of just, I almost forgot.
The nurse goes about, she's making herself a cup of tea. She makes you a cup of tea also.
I will politely decline the tea and tell her if I have any tea at this hour, I'll be up all night. Insert old man excuse.
She's like, of course. The garbage water. Don't know what it is. It's Ted Lasso, except for tea is awful. Garbage water.
As I guess when the doctor comes back, Amber, I'll just, as we're walking out the door, I'll be, I'm
gonna hit Riley first.
Yeah, yep, go ahead.
Riley, you and Edgar continue on with the doctor to his office. He opens it up. The office is nice, well kept. The furniture is in good shape. He's got a few bookshelves with some medical texts on them. It seems to be, it's the office of a serious physician. Despite the fact that he works in this little podunky town and serving the podunky villages, he seems to take his craft seriously. That is your first impression from the office.
Yep.
But he walks in and he's got, there's like a little closet he opens up and he's got a few boxes in there and he pulls out one of the boxes and he's like, this is the traveler's possessions, just a few items I mentioned. Pocket watch is not in working order, but feel free to take a look if you think that may help identify him.
Yeah, I'll thank you, doctor. I'll just borrow your desk for a moment. I'll open the box and I'll start to kind of comb over the possessions.
Right. You start picking through the possessions, and while you're doing that, the doctor kind of speaks with Edgar a little bit. He's like, so these are colleagues from one of your associates from Cambridge? And Edgar's like, yes, my associate, Oswald Williams, is a professor of anthropology, I think now. And he's just sort of like, he's like, and are they also graduates of Cambridge? It's just sort of like he sees success of these guys, but Edgar's like, oh no, they have a similar research interests, but they are from a different educational background and expertise, and he's just trying to roll it a little bit here without lying or anything, and covering for the fact that he does not know you guys.
Yep.
Talking more about Oswald when he can. Riley, as you're picking through the possessions, it is, as the doctor said, there's a pocket watch, a small pocket knife, and a handkerchief. The handkerchief is of common cotton material, not particularly fine. It is not monogrammed or anything like that. Could be anybody's handkerchief. The pocket watch is of good quality. It's good steel. It's not of any sort of luxury brand or anything like that. The handle is wooden and it is worn smooth from use. The pocket watch is it is nice, but it's not it's nice as in it might be sort of like a family heirloom for a well-to-do family, not nice like it is a rich person's pocket watch.
Yep.
That sort of thing. There is no photo or anything on the inside.
It's well kept, but not pricey.
Correct. And it's well kept. It's nice. It's not like a cheap pocket watch. It's just not it's to a well-to-do craftsman family. This is something a father would proudly pass down to his son, sort of thing.
Yeah. As I'm kind of looking over the items here, I'll just ask the doctor, just if he's from this village. But
yeah, he says, I am not. I am from Bristol, actually. And I did spend quite some time in Cambridge getting my education. But I had the opportunity to open a practice here, and the people of Ennensbury and the surrounding villages were in need of a physician, so here I am.
By the how you keep your office, you seem very proud of your craft, and it shows.
He's like, I am. I take the practice of medicine very seriously. I do believe it is one of the ways forward, progressing as a society. And people all over need help, as rustic as they may be.
Do I notice anything? Nothing too peculiar about the items, just common.
Nope. Water damage in the watch. It's still got
Yep.
moisture in the glass and stuff. It
Yep.
took a dip in the river.
Yep. Just trying to think. Oh, I would definitely know, being a not quite related craft, but instrument maker, having to sometimes work with water damage. I'll just say it's like with the stuff. It's like, yeah, I can't quite reason with this. It's it all seems common, but maybe keep the pocket watch in a warm and dry location for when he wakes up. It seems like he cares for this watch a lot, so it dries.
I will have Jane get some rice, perhaps. Put it in rice.
Riley, ask about Daisy.
Like, so about the murdered.
Yeah.
Do it.
Now, as I'm like putting away the stuff in the box and kind of leaving the watch to the side, in all candidness, is that a word?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
To be perfectly candid.
Yeah. We are not here to really just look into this traveler, but he is an interesting thing.
You are here to ask about Ms. Thomas.
Yes, that is why we have.
And he just kind of looks at Edgar for a moment.
Hey, I was genuine.
We were just seeing if the traveler was connected in any way.
You don't like the Winchcombe boy for the murderer?
I mean, from all we heard, it seems like an animal has done most of the deeds. From what Edgar has told us since we arrived, her body was found out of a cave, which kind of leads me to question: does that bridge that the traveler is walking on lead to that cave?
It does not. They're not particularly near each other.
Okay.
Well, I suppose if one were being pursued by a vicious, large animal like a bear, one might jump over a bridge to escape it. Could also just as easily have been an accident, though. No point in speculating that far, but I can tell you, Ms. Thomas, I do not know of any implement, man-made, that would cause such terrible injuries as I observed on that young girl's body.
Do you believe the animal to be a bear? Was it those injuries that large?
Yes, the injuries are consistent with claw marks. Wolf would not have been able to produce such damage. Wildcat seems wrong for the damage to the bones and whatnot. I know that bear are not bear have been thought to be extinct for some time in these parts, but perhaps one could have wandered down from farther north. I've given the inspector my reports, and I have expressly stated my belief that it was the attack of a large wild animal such as a bear. Don't know what more I can do to convince the inspector, but had the Winchcombe boy committed the murder, he would have been covered in blood. I would have had to have used implements of some custom design to create such injuries. It would have taken quite some time, and the sort of devious and very ill mind of a London Ripper, if you will. Not something we have in excess of in these parts.
whereas I don't believe it is right that the young boy is being blamed for this, it does seem on their part easier to blame and easier to kind of put ease to the rest of the people that it was a single person and not a large animal that hasn't been seen in these parts for a while and maybe not be able to be tracked or hunted easily.
I understand the skepticism when it comes to extinct animals in the area and such attacks, but
oh no, that isn't quite what I had meant. I apologize. I meant it would be easier to say this
rather
is the
have
person
an
who's
answer
doing
than a card pressing problem.
Correct. And
I fear that may be the case with the police, not so much the people of Brancombe. And he looks at Edgar for that, and Edgar just kind of sort of like nods a little and sighs a little bit.
And that is why we were asked to come in. Because being such a small community, eyes can be deceived by feelings.
He sort of raises his eyebrow, nods a little bit at that. Like an objective mind will not go to waste, certainly. Perhaps you'll have better luck convincing the inspector to see some reason.
Unfortunately, that may have already passed as our other associates went in and were promptly left.
It could have been worse. They could have never left.
Though I am not sure if they had spoken to the inspector yet, or they were just denied entry into the building. It seemed very quick.
It is a late hour. Well,
again, I apologize for the hour of our arrival. It took a little bit longer for us to get ready than we were expecting.
Well, he goes about and collects the patient's effects again and puts them away. And then he says, "It is a late hour. I must be turning in for the evening if I'm to be well rested for the patients of tomorrow. Edgar, please come next time for dinner instead of after it." And Edgar's like, "Sorry, I was in town to pick my associates up from the train station." And he just sort of gives that dour little nod again and leads you out of the office. He sort of pauses as you rejoin Ronaldo, and he says, "One other thing." And he looks at Jane for a moment, almost like he doesn't know if he wants to say it in front of her. And then he just goes ahead and says, "It does appear some parts of the poor girl were eaten, I would say. Organs and such. Don't quite make young Winchcombe for a cannibal."
Any specific organ?
Yeah, I was just going to ask what organs specifically.
The organs in the lower gullet, some intestines, some liver was missing. And again, I do say eaten rather than surgically, however amateurishly removed. Eaten. Jane is just like, oh.
Do you know if the locals or anybody did any searches in the cave or surrounding area where they found the body?
Edgar says, I don't know if they actually entered the cave. The Holt, it's Old Meg's Holt, is what the locals call it. It's not very large. It wouldn't take much to do a sweep through it. So perhaps they did. But I can't be certain. I have not heard.
I guess when we're finally away from the doctor and the nurse, I'll ask Edgar if he knows if the animals were similarly missing their intestines and livers and that stuff.
As you are saying goodbyes before you have a chance alone with them, Edgar, shakes the doctor's hand, bids goodnight. Outside, you hear a howl.
Is it June?
Sounds like June. Not that you've heard her howl more than maybe once or twice in your entire life.
I will run outside.
Ronaldo bursts outside. Not hard to find June. She is standing in front of the door. And she is alert. She doesn't look like vicious, anxious, or anything like that. Just very much all primed. Like all of her is on. All of her is awake. Her hackles are a little bit up. Her ears are perked forward. She appears to be done howling, though. Just the one long, almost mournful bay that you had heard. And now she is just waiting for you.
I almost want to ask the doc to check on the guy and see if he is still alive. I will, but I'm gonna lean into the superstition thing that the doctor hated, and I'm gonna say, Doctor, call it the School of Hard Knocks superstition, but would you be so kind as to perhaps check on the stranger?
Gonna need another manipulation test for that.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah,
7
brother.
dice. 2 successes.
He, again, grimaces. His patience is running very thin with this nonsense, and you did figure him correctly. He does not like the superstitious nonsense at all.
I will say my face is very serious, though.
His face, yep, it thins. He sees this kind of seriousness in your face. Jane kind of looks back and forth between them a little bit, and he says, Nurse Jane, if you wouldn't mind just doing one more check on the patient for the evening. She says, of course, doctor. And she heads off down the hallway there. Edgar is looking toward your dog and kind of peeking around the open door to see if like there is any ruckus or anything. Just like, what's going on? The nurse rounds that corner, and you hear like a door open in a moment later. She's like running back. Her footsteps are very quick. She's like, doctor, we need you. And he gives he pauses for just a moment and meets your eyes, Ronaldo. Like, he's not expecting this. He's like been shocked. He's been challenged. There's a lot in that. And then you just see like work mode go in, and he goes around the corner and he's like, apologies, you'll have to show yourself out. And he heads around the corner.
I look at Riley and I say, I believe our work is done here for the evening.
Yes, let's meet with... Sorry, brain fart. Let's meet with the ladies back at the wagon.
Very well. And I'll just pet June's head and kind of give her a hug and then get walking.
She falls into pace beside you at your heels as always. Edgar looks a little like, what's going on? He's a little mixed up by these events, but he waits until he's outside with you, and then he says, is everything all right? You're, what happened?
I look at Edgar and I say, it is impossible for me to know definitively, but I have a suspicion that our stranger is no longer for this world.
Edgar holds her gaze for a moment, and then he looks down at June.
And I say, I'm happy I said a prayer for him before we left.
He looks somber. But he sort of like tucks his coat and he says, well, I hope that you are incorrect, but I suppose the news will reach us soon enough. Hopefully Dr. Mellors can attend him. And he looks kind of again at your dog, and then we should find your companions, and it's dark now. Get on before it is too late. The attacks on the cattle did take place at night.
Lucky us, we're with the safest escort in town. And I just pet June and just give her some loves.
All right. They do eventually find you. They find you if you're going to be like an hour or so at the nearby inn. Wait 10 minutes for you. You don't show up, and then they go looking.
Mm-hmm.
But you see your companions appear in the inn there looking a little bit worried. They relax a little bit when they see you. They don't rush you. Edgar doesn't rush you too much or anything. Just kind of comes over and he's like, is the evening going all right? Are we wrapping up here?
Yes, I believe we've gathered everything we needed. We struck out with the inspector, but I'm not sure how much we would have gathered anyways.
We didn't strike out with the inspector. We inspected out with the sergeant.
Well, we never even got to the inspector, but
Right.
from the sense of it, it seems the inspector, what it sounds, no one has really visited Billy. So whether or not we would have ever gotten in.
The inspector has been notoriously difficult. He has even denied me access to Billy.
Is that unusual have you worked with the inspector before?
I'm happy to say there are not a lot of criminals who require jailing in Ennensbury in our community, but in the past there have been a couple, and I have always been allowed to minister to the needs of their souls.
This is a rather large crime compared to the past, though.
It is our first murder.
Heinous, if you will.
In my time, at least. But I do...
what did you say, Ronaldo? Anus?
I said heinous.
Oh,
but
heinous.
I was hoping you would hear the emphasis on anus.
Anus. I heard nothing but anus, so I guess so.
Yes.
You are about done with your meals. I do think we should get on the road. Get back to Brancombe before it is too dark.
Was there anything else, Rosalie? No? All right. Yes, we can finish up here. Hopefully you all had better luck with the doctor.
Riley can fill you in on the information.
We update.
Yeah, well,
on
the ride.
He gets you back into the coach. Edgar drives the coach himself. He doesn't have a coachman or anything, but you are all welcome to the cab. It is a mile and a half to Brancombe, down not the smoothest road in the entire world, but it's smooth enough for coach travel. A little bit bumpy here and there. And you can see like the sort of hills rolling by in the moonlight. Dark, quiet. You hear the song of crickets here and there. And ahead you see the tiny little lights of the village of Brancombe dotting the night. Really, really small town. It's got like a few main buildings sort of thing. And then everything else is just dotted farmsteads into the distance at different places. But you have enough time on the little mile and a half ride to catch each other up on anything. Is there anything anybody is reserving specifically from each other, or do you pretty much tell everything?
Yeah.
All right. If you have any last plans you wish to make or speculations or anything like that during the coach ride, you may do so. If not, you will arrive at the vicarage, where Edgar is happy to show you to your rooms, or if you prefer to stay at the Shepherd's Rest, it is right down the road.
I think it would be best if we all stayed together.
Are we like rooming up, like boys and girls?
He's got
There's 3 rooms.
So somebody's rooming up.
I would
Hopefully boys with boys or girls with girls, or Edgar will have that kind of pale, like, oh no, but won't say anything because he's polite.
I would prefer to room by myself, but
Well, the good news is
I would prefer
you
to room
can't.
there's 3 rooms. I could. Only 2 of us have to share. Ronaldo's
It's
like
Montreal all over again. Trust me.
Some fucking prima donnas up in this bitch.
I would prefer a room on my own, but I'm happy to share.
I'd rather hope we could bond a little, sister time, Nora.
I will
We've
tell
had
Edgar thank
plenty
you
of
for the.
bonding time.
I offer to stay at the inn.
Oh, well, there you go too.
Free up some space in the house.
It's very kind of you, Ronaldo. Thank
Oh,
you.
no, I will. I'll stay at the inn. You stay here, Ronaldo.
Oh, that's very kind of you, Rosalie. Lovely. Perhaps we should just go 2 and 2. Perhaps half of us should stay at the inn and half of us should stay here.
Split the party. Split the party.
Just in case anything happens, I'll have to run through it in 2 different scenes, back and forth, constantly.
Yes.
Or I don't mind sharing a room with someone. I'll share a room here in the vicarage with you, Ronaldo, if you want.
Edgar's like,
I think you're safe.
Safest room in the house. I look at June.
Fair enough.
Edgar's like, well, there's one of the rooms is here. One of the rooms is here.
Riley just crawls into Edgar's bed. Just bare ass naked, just lays down on his bed. I can
fetch some extra blankets and cushions for those of you sharing.
I prefer to steal them from my comfortable and sleeping companions.
Oh my goodness.
He gives you a quick little tour around the vicarage, Very, very simple. There's a couple extra rooms that he's converted. One of them was like an office that he's moved a little cot into and stuff. Like, it's not a big place. He shows you where the kitchen is, the outhouse out back, that sort of thing.
Lovely.
There's a well. They do have a kind of pump drawn water. Oil lamps for light at night. It is a humble place, but all of my amenities and comforts are yours as my guests.
Thank you so much, Edgar. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Does he have any religious stuff on his walls?
Yes, he's got like the crosses and stuff that you would expect. This is a vicarage. He is a reverend. He also has quite a few books. You notice, like, there are books in all of the guest rooms, kind of scattered throughout. And a lot. They're not all religious texts. A lot of them are like kind of anthropological or folkloric in nature. He seems to have an interest in it.
Oh, I'm going to peruse the folklore sections that he has while we're there. Before we settle in. Yeah.
As you're doing a little bit of reading before nighttime.
Mm-hmm. I wonder.
He's got the tome you've picked up is a tome about the standing stones.
Excellent.
In the area. It's a little more detailed than the one Riley had flipped through.
I wonder if it might be early. I wonder if it would be at all wise to send word to Mr. Hawken to look up anything related to like cold, large creature with claws and eating.
At this point, we'd probably have to send a telegram in the morning.
Correct. It would be. It would be
regardless of how you send it. It won't leave till morning.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I just wonder if it's early or if that's something we should pull soonish.
As I'm reading the book, I'm just going to casually say to Ronaldo, because I imagine it's kind of like sitting in the room. I'm just going to say, so Ronaldo, a little confession. Sometimes I sleepwalk a bit. So if you hear me getting up and walking around, just please wake me.
Will do.
Thank you.
Who's Meg? I ask Edgar.
Meg. He thinks for a moment. He says, you were talking about the Meg of Meg's Holt. There's a local legend of sorts, a superstition about old Meg, the witch that our local Saint Biren had supposedly vanquished. I'm trying to think of a good time, like say 300 years prior, some 300 years ago. Meg's Holt is the cave outside of the standing stone that has her namesake.
Wait, we learned something about Saint Biren. I wrote down Saint Biren turned creature into stone.
Yes,
that was old Meg.
That's old Meg. Mm-hmm. Old Meg is the witch that was turned to stone.
Okay.
Yes, notorious witch of local legend. One of the saint's miracles was the vanquishing of old Meg in the ending of her tyranny. Daisy's body was found not far from old Meg's Holt, if I am correct. I have not visited the site myself, but I have heard that much from the townsfolk.
I ask him, I'll kind of casually put my hand in my pocket and I'll start like kind of feeling the hag's eye. And I'll say, if the stone is ever destroyed or worn, is the witch's spirit set free?
It could be. I've read some similar folk tales about other standing stones in the region, and some of them do involve the creatures being set free by the destruction or damage of the stone. If you believe in such things, you know how local history is.
Oh, yes. Folklore.
But I'm sure there is a reasonable explanation for such things. He says that like he's not sure, but he hopes.
Nice. Is it cold in town as we ride in? Or is it just kind of like that, like late fall, like late spring, kind of like muddy cold? Or is it like winter cold?
It's a little nippy now, but it's the kind of nippiness of night. It is not abnormally. It is cool for June, but still possibly June temperatures.
Okay.
How far is the cave from here?
Not far. It is. Tell me where the rock is in distance.
Ish.
Yep, I think it tells me. One of the things I love about this book is it tells me things in metric and in US whenever it gives a measurement. It's so nice.
Both meters and bald
away.
eagles.
It is. I have to estimate distance because this map doesn't have a distance thing.
It is 300
I am
meters.
gonna say
I just mean like
it is like maybe 3/4 of a mile-ish outside of town, near the Thomas farm.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
You looking to see the Holt in the site of where Daisy's body was found tomorrow?
I think that would be a wise idea to, before we get to speaking with the townsfolk, just kind of see this area for ourselves.
He's like, I think that is a good approach. If you you're welcome to have breakfast here at the vicarage, but if you wanted to go down to the Shepherd's Rest, you might be able to find a local who will serve as a guide, maybe see a few of the sites of the cattle mutilations as well. I'm not quite sure when those were performed.
Exactly when did the cold set in?
Around the time the cattle mutilations started.
So a couple
few days after Daisy's body was found.
Okay.
And it comes and goes. It'll be cool June evening or even a warm June evening, and then the temperature will drop dramatically. I've seen frost on the windows a few times, and then it will pass sometimes. These incidents have been mostly in the outlying farms. I haven't noticed anything in town, but I did experience it once myself when I was talking to the Winchcombes at their farmstead. It's very it's concerning. I understand why people are afraid. If there is anything, my room is down there. Please knock if you require anything of me. If not, I will see you in the morning. I am up with the sun. And if there's anything I can do, any information that you need, please call on me.
Rosalie will save her sleepwalking. She won't say the sleepwalking thing until they're ready to like go to bed. She didn't like casually say that in the middle of the conversation.
In their private room.
Just between Ronaldo and her. Yeah.
Right. And it says that one more thing. I do have a housekeeper who comes in to the vicarage and helps clean the church and whatnot. You might see her around Mrs. Hopper. So don't be alarmed if you run into her tomorrow.
Hopper?
Hopper. Yep. Hopper.
Damn, lots of NPCs.
There's so many. This is like a small fraction of them. I'm like scrolling back and forth constantly through all these entries. But have a good evening. Hopefully some undisturbed rest. Good night.
Thank you.
Bids each of you good night.
Thank you.
And heads off to his chambers.
So, Riley, are you bunking with Edgar or the extraordinary Eleanor? Because you're not fitting in our room.
No, there's 3 rooms.
There's 3 rooms.
3.
The prima donnas
Yes,
get their own.
me and Riley get our own room.
The 2 poor people have to sleep
I'm
together. 'cause
also
they're-
poor.
So 3 spare rooms, you're saying, Amber?
Yes, there were 3 spare rooms.
Oh, okay.
3 spare rooms, one of which is like an office that he's moved Cotton to. He's like,
Okay.
I assume Edgar would be taking the office and cot.
Oh, he has his own room.
yeah, he's actually staying in his
Yeah.
own room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The office and cot is for one of us, which I will happily take.
I guess I'll take.
He does
the office
provide
and cot there.
extra bedding for
Ronaldo.
bedding and
Rosalie.
cushions for Ronaldo and Rosalie. He's like, so the gentleman can sleep on the floor.
Rosalie will actually just be like, don't worry, we will keep you up. She'll play into his fears.
Oh, God.
I'm a little uncomfortable, like, okay.
not like directly, but with like double entendres and just
Yes,
be like,
yes.
don't worry, we will keep you up. And
As
like,
holy folk go, this one is not the worst.
yeah.
But
I mean, he's
just a little-
taking it well, considering. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not as well as I do.
Got him.
Got him. Bada bing. Hey.
What a face.
All right, folks. You get your sleeping arrangements settled. If any of you have any closing scenes as you are bedding down, you may do those now as our outro.
Nope. Like I said, Rosalie would just at that point say, that's when she casually says to Ronaldo, by the way, I sleepwalk, wake me up if you see me do it. And that's it.
I don't think I have anything. I just kind of lock the door. If it doesn't lock, I might block it, but that's about it.
I will look at June and I will say, let's all have a quiet night tonight, okay, girl?
She gives you just a little.
Alluding
Fine.
to her howl from earlier.
Yeah.
And then she settles on the floor, kind of like facing a window, just sort of like her eyes up, looking out the window toward the moon, kind of hanging over the quiet sleeping village of Brancombe.
Are there any holy symbols in this room? Because if not, I might snag one. Okay.
There's a cross. There's a cross in every room. Just one. It's not like crosses everywhere, but there's one cross in every room. You're like, and I'm gonna take this.
Between that and
Hey,
June's
Rosalie's
necklace,
like, I'm gonna
or
turn
June's
them
collar?
upside down.
Yeah, I was just thinking, Watson's like turning the pictures of Christ around so they're like facing the wall.
I think Amber, you said we can use our memento to get rid of one thing at one point during an adventure.
Yep,
Yeah.
you just have to have a scene where you describe either what you're doing and with some kind of like internal experience with why it refocuses, resettles, reminds you of your goals, whatever it does for you.
And it doesn't reset all of them. It just resets one tick.
Correct.
Okay. I think then what I'll do is as I'm getting ready for bed and laying down, my hand goes to the butterfly necklace. And I guess I just I kind of close my eyes and I just think about like a happy moment that I had with Lily under a bridge on like a warm, quiet evening before things went to shit. And I just kind of think about that moment, and then I just take deep breaths, and I kind of try to sync my breaths with June's as my head is like resting on her.
You said a bad word.
Did you?
I'd say a bad word.
He said shit. He did say a bad word.
Oh, did he say shit?
Yes, he did.
Little one got it.
missed it.
And
I did say
June's
that. I'm sorry,
familiar
bud.
steady breaths, before you know it, your breathing kind of falls into that deep, steady rhythm with her. And you think of that nice, peaceful moment with Lily. And then you think of Daisy Thomas, a girl who you know almost nothing of, except she was just a girl. A young girl with her whole life ahead of her. And you perhaps find a little bit more resolve, knowing that she also has people missing her and loving her to put this to an end.
I love
All right.
it.
And we will pick up 2 weeks from now with the continuation of our investigation, now in the small village of Brancombe. Got some mutilations to investigate, some murders, a lot of locals with opinions and thoughts on the subject. And where will our investigators go?
That's right. Keep your friends close and your intestines even closer.
Very, very good.
Cool. That'll be our ending.
Keep your friends close, keep your intestines closer. I love it.
Keep your intestines inside you, preferably.
Just close. Not inside you, just close.
As long as you can see them, you're good.
Run and carry them.
That's right.
Alrighty, everybody. Thank you again for joining us on this stream. We hope that you enjoyed it. This is going to be one of probably 3 mysteries that we'll be doing on Vaesen. Each one will probably be 3 or 4 sessions, we would imagine. Feel free to check us out on all the different social medias. We are also on pretty much any podcast groups. Please also give some love to our basement ginger, Rainy, on Rainy Plays Games. You can also find him on any of the podcasts and social medias as well. If you have any questions or just want to give us some feedback, anything like that, give us a shout out. Please feel free to email us at dmsafterdark@gmail.com. We usually do a pretty good job of checking that. And gosh, other than that, I think that's pretty much all we got.
I got
What to do with your intestines?
small thing.
Oh,
Small thing, Riley, OJ.
Small thing. So, just for forewarning, if you are with us tonight, this Sunday, if you are going to Gen Con, is the Gen Con sales tickets, or if you do not know of it, if you are here, and hopefully nothing gets sold out, though it does seem like this year is going to be a big year. So Monday, if you're watching this on YouTube, go and buy your tickets. This upcoming Friday, if you're listening to this on the podcast, go and buy your tickets.
Yeah. And then maybe even run into us. We'll have swag again this year.
Yeah,
If you find us in the wild, I will give you something that's branded.
Yeah, more than half of us will be there. So maybe we'll see you.
Right.
Pop by the Chaosium booth if you're at Gen Con and tell them how awesome and rad we are and how they should sponsor us and offer us millions of dollars.
Millions. Or Free League. Free League already ponied up free stuff, though. They're awesome.
Yeah, Free League ponied up already.
Free League is phenomenal. We love
They
them.
have, yes, love their stuff.
Yeah, so until next time, keep your friends close and your intestines closer.
Closer.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey.
Good night, y'all.
Everyone.
Have a good night.